hear you.
There we go. Okay. Now, so for some reason, it went completely black. I'm going to start the radio program. Thank you for joining us. The Dave's Gone By radio show of the air. Excuse me. I should clear my throat before we start the show, shouldn't I? Yay! Here comes the music.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the neighborhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing
Oh, it's
of
my coach.
unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Just making sure that everything's looking good.
Tropical hot dog night. Like two flamingos in a fruit fight.
Are you giving me the tax opportunity too?
Every color of day. Whirling around at night. I'm playing this music so the young girls will come out to be from monster tonight. Tropical hot dog night.
Well, there goes the neighborhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome and hello to the Dave's Gone By neighborhood, the radio program of the air and the interwebs that we have been doing for 15 plus years. First on Long Island and now here in gorgeous but cold but gorgeous Greeley, Colorado, from 9 until noon Mountain Time every Saturday here in the neighborhood. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My darling and adorable wife Joyce is over there by the other microphone. Should we get you on camera somehow? Because for the past few weeks, we've not only been on radio, but we've been on Facebook. I can't hear you.
I'm in my gym clothes.
Joy, oh, she's in her. Yeah, but you look fine. What's wrong with your gym? Your gym clothes? And she's exhausted because graduation was last night. So tell the people about it.
It was very exciting. I always like it because it makes me happy. And then I borrowed a gown from my friend who's a librarian who bought it from a librarian. So when I wear my sash, on the back of my hood, my hood says I'm a librarian. So all librarians look at me. I'm like, no. I borrowed this. It's a borrowed gown. And then I lost my honor society pin somehow.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Well, that will. You probably give it back.
No, I have the gown. You attach it.
To where?
Should I bring the hat to return? I have to bring it Monday back to. I borrowed a hat
from
the office. Yeah, the tam.
Right. So, but it was black gown. Don't we have like school colors, blue and orange
what you
or something?
normally wear. So when you're in faculty, you wear the color. Like I would, if I bought my gown from Fordham, it would be maroon. Like I'd have a maroon gown.
Right.
And some people have like green, different colors.
So wouldn't there be a gown here that would be blue?
No, yeah, you'd have to buy it. So I'd have to go. I'd have to buy. And they're like over like $400 or $500 up to $1,000.
No
So I rent it, but I don't rent it. I borrow it from my friend who borrows it from another friend, retired librarian. But the joke is that my hood identifies me as librarian. So all the librarians were looking at me. I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, I'm wearing Betty's coat. So Betty's robe I borrowed from Wendy. So I look like a librarian. I'm like, that's why you're all staring at me. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Because every discipline has, I love it. Every discipline has their own color.
So the graduation was held in Butler Hancock, which is the gym indoors.
Yeah. You're the student who opened it off. She was a grad student in the program you took here, that intensive MA in theater ed. She nailed it. I talked to her beforehand because she was sitting there with papers. And I said, don't tell me you're grading. And she's like, no, I'm practicing my speech. And she has a small theater in a rural community. She and a friend started a theater company, and they teach children how to do theater because there was no theater there.
So she's a graduate of the program?
Yeah, she's the graduate. She graduated last night, but she was also the student graduate speaker. She was great.
So was she like valedictorian or something?
She was what I was. No, she was, I think, the commencement. I think,
Oh,
I don't know.
So was her degree in theater ed. The program I got
the same
it.
one you did.
Oh,
And so then my colleague turned to me and said, we should get a theater person every year to do the speech. They know how to speak. I was like, yes, they do.
absolutely true.
You know, that she did a beautiful job.
Good.
She really did. It was a very positive. I thought.
But she wasn't the speaker.
No,
speaker,
she was. The
Who was
woman
the
was like
speaker?
from Greeley. She was one of the. I've seen her around a lot. She gave a good talk about her time here.
Oh, okay.
She was an alum, and she talked about all her experiences at UNC and like what students should bring when they graduate. It was really good. I thought she was a local speaker, but it was very heartfelt. It was nice.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was. I liked her.
Glad.
She was really.
Because remember you complained
Yeah.
last year that
the one,
graduate speakers were kind of
no
bleh.
one person spoke, and literally, and I must say this as a practicing non-clinical gerontologist, I thought there were some memory issues that one year with the guy. It wasn't a logical,
Clearly
like
nerves.
it was nerves, but he had paper in front of him. So if you're nervous and you really get nervous, you start to read.
Yeah.
But it went non-linear and it went kind of all over and
Oops. Oh well.
yeah.
So I'm glad at least. Yeah, I mean everybody's pissed off here at UNC for various reasons, but
Yeah.
it's nice that they had a
I enjoyed
good
it.
ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. There were like my friend said over 200 graduates. There were a lot. I was surprised,
And now they're having the undergrad
But
ceremony.
they do it, they stagger it because they have too many colleges to do it once. So they do different colleges at different times.
Well, that's for the undergrads. That's
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do that mid-year. They probably do it in the summer when they have to divide them.
I think they do it all the time.
Really?
I think it says if you're this school or that school.
Even
I think.
two ceremonies
Yeah,
even in
look
the
on the
winter. All right,
web.
I'm not going to bother with
Yeah.
it, but I know in the summer they'll do like a 10 a.m. and
Yeah.
a noon ceremony.
I looked. There are a lot of students graduating because in the booklet we got from the grad graduation, it's for all of them. They did something really nice. I thought this year in the program for graduation, they put pictures. So in the middle, they have pictures of like furniture, and they have like some of the stock photos like around. I thought that was like really.
Actually, why don't at this
Yeah.
stage of the game? Why can't they have pictures of every single graduate in the program?
It'd
Wouldn't
be
that
too
be
big.
nice?
No, it'd be too big.
It's not,
but-
I mean, little icon
Yeah.
photo things.
They actually did something that was so funny. They've done this the past couple of years. They
Yeah.
show a video mid-graduation of like UNC. It's almost like an ad,
Oh.
and they put on the TV.
Do they still do yearbooks? Is that still a
I
thing?
don't know.
Or is it just online and video and digital and everything?
I would
I'm sure
think they
must.
probably don't.
Really?
I never heard of any yearbook. Have you?
Well, we
Have
would
you heard
never.
of it?
Wait, when I graduated,
No,
I never
now.
got a yearbook here. Like 6-7 years ago, it occurs to me there was no
No, there's no
yearbook. Huh. The times they have it
I
changed.
think they call it the Facebook, honey.
that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Why?
Because you go back, 20 years down the line, you're like, oh, that's that
You know what they do
classmate.
now? They just Facebook, Google, or look on LinkedIn for somebody.
Yeah, I know. But it's a time capsule thing. Ask all people listening, ask yourselves when was the last time you looked at your wedding photo album? 15 years ago. So maybe people just don't. Whereas if you have your wedding photos on Facebook, you wind up seeing them
Yeah,
every couple of months. It's like, oh yeah, that was when we posted those 2 years ago. They're
That
still
was
there.
my first wife.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I would be giving shout outs to all the folks who are watching us on Facebook and also listening. Unfortunately, Facebook is having apparently its issues. So the stream is working fine, the video, and I'm here, but I'm not getting any kind of sidebar stuff. So I'm not seeing your names. I'm not seeing any messages. I'm not seeing any icons or emojis from you. I apologize for that, but welcome all of you who are listening here on Facebook, as well as all the people listening on the regular radio, UNC Radio, the radio station of the University of Northern Colorado, which finished its class. What are you looking for, Bob?
I'm still grading, so.
Oh, I know. I finished my grades yesterday. I've got to input them this weekend. I'm dreading looking at my mail. I shouldn't have been. I should have just totaled their scores and then put their letter grades on what do they call it, Ursa, and not told them what their letter grades are, because I'm dreading. It's like, how could I get a C? How could you give me a D plus?
Yeah,
How
but
could
you have to look at it this way. What you do is you give the scores and say, this is what you earned in the course. The course is over,
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, you can tell them, and you can tell them. And some people, sometimes they're like, I still want to, well, the points add up to this.
Yeah.
And if you missed this assignment, and if you had this many absences, the points that but why is somebody still getting a C minus? It's like,
That's why. And you refer back to the syllabus. You say the syllabus is a contract. Refer back to that and look, here's the point distribution. There you go.
Yeah. Although the syllabus promises that I'll actually teach these people something.
You do.
I don't know if I did.
You get what you give, you know?
I still give. I still give a lot.
You should.
But mostly when I'm up there. You know, I feel almost like I'm giving a little less now when I grade. That I'm not caring as much, that I'm like, if I see someone make a mistake that they should have learned 2 months ago, and they're still making that mistake, it takes something out of you.
Why? But
Doesn't it?
No, because it's not you. Like, my feeling is people bring different levels of interest. So some people go to college and they want to learn. Some people don't. Some people have 27 million jobs and family responsibility. So it's like, I don't get insulted. I think that people do what they do and that's it. You know, they perform. Like, some people do a job better than other people, some don't, right? So for whatever reason, they did what they did at that time. It's like a snapshot and it's over.
Yeah. Well, that's also how the amazing thing is I warn my kids when I first start teaching, like the first week, I will not remember your names.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really true. I will remember week to week about a third to almost half of their names. By next week, I will have forgotten.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll see their faces and I'm like, were you my student? And I don't think it's Alzheimer's. I think it's just this positional, like when I'm in that room and you're sitting there and I'm over here.
It's temporal.
Yeah. And it's sad. I mean, I read about these teachers who missed your chips.
Actually, it's contextual. So it's like, it's contextual memory. So it's like, oh, maybe episodic. I'm not sure what's going on, which one's working, but it's this idea that I know you. If I, like, let's say you're, for example, you work at Einstein's Bagel. So when I see you there, I know you. But if I see you in Ross or the library, then I get a little taken aback because it's contextual. So you know them only in reference to where they normally are.
I'm terrible with that. But I could walk in if I were.
You do that with family too. You see your family. You're like, do you know them? I'm like, that's your cousin.
I don't know.
I'm like, that's your cousin.
Well, honestly, if I am teaching a course in the spring, but if I were teaching like one of the same class in the spring, I will have forgotten about 80% of the names.
You got to work hard to memorize.
125 people. I don't think I can.
I used to have 250.
And how many did you remember?
All of them.
What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
How do you remember 250 people?
I graded their stuff. In stats, we graded stuff. And then in the writing courses and the social courses, we just always did stuff. You remember.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's better that you don't remember because it lowers bias in some ways. If there's a student who's annoying or who's absent all the time.
You gotta separate. You don't can bring those together.
I do. I mean, there are times when I'll hope that someone doesn't do all that well. I'm not affected by it. I'll grade the way I grade, but I'm just saying you have to say there's students that you sort of hope do better.
But you always have people who you may have more of an affinity to or whatever, but you can't let that impact what you do.
You cannot let it, but sometimes you just have that feeling. Well, anyway, I'm just saying.
And then if you feel that way, you shouldn't teach.
Okay, fine. What else am I going to do? I'll serve Starbucks for $10 an hour, which is actually probably overall higher pay than what we're making. Well, what I'm making anyway.
I make less now than I did when I worked at Mount Sinai in the 90s.
No, you don't.
Yes,
not quite.
I do.
We're not going to talk about numbers,
yes,
but
I do.
You weren't. No.
Yes,
you
I
were
was.
under a certain number.
Not when I left.
Really?
Yeah, I made more than now.
That's and that was
20 years
20
later,
years
over
ago.
30 years later.
Well, this is why people go into business and industry as opposed to doing.
That's why I went on
a
free ride to get my doctorate because I knew my profession wasn't going to make millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So.
I know. This is what we do. Boy, what a depressing conversation this has been, ladies and gentlemen. Well, and we shouldn't be depressed. My God, the semester is just about over. In 3 days, we're all going to put our grades in officially, and the break again.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday, 4 days to get our grades in, and then everybody's free, except those who are teaching intercession, lucky bastards. And
not necessarily. They got a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And also, it kind of. I just remember our winter breaks here feeling longer than this one.
I think they shortened it.
Yeah, I mean we start up second week of January. Boom.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's so quick. I'm sending out my welcome letters today, too.
And our spring break, I'm already thinking towards spring break. Our spring break
March
is
10th,
like March 10th.
to the 18th.
It's not fucking spring yet. It's it's late winter break, they should call it. Winter break 2, the sequel. Shorter and better than ever.
Early spring.
Anyway, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something really amazing.
What?
That was a scientific discovery.
What?
Reported in the New York Times this week. According to the New York Times, and Rabbi Saul Solomon, by the way, is going to be thrilled about this. And Rabbi Saul will be here, folks, by the way, talking with singer and actress Brooke Moriber. She did almost a dozen shows, at least half a dozen shows on Broadway when she was quite young, and now she is moving into the pop country field musically and having some success there. So she's doing a whole bunch of stuff, and Rabbi Saul Solomon is going to talk to her in the neighborhood later. Also, we'll have our Bob Dylan Sooner and Later segment. We'll have a couple of Saturday segues. We'll go inside Broadway. We've got, and guess what's back? After months, potato news. We have potato news today, ladies and gentlemen, potatoes and gentlemen. And what else? Did I miss any? Inside Broadway and Greeley Crimes and Old Time. So we've got a classic, typical, wonderful day that's gone by. But I was going to tell you that the New York Times science column has reported that Israeli researchers have discovered that scallops have eyes.
Ew.
What do you mean, ew?
Because you're eating scallops.
Like fish.
Oh.
I cows. I don't eat blind cows. Oh, I don't want that. I want the Marley Matlin cow. What do you know? No, she's deaf. She's not blind. I want the Helen Keller cow. No, the Ray Charles cow. No, we eat things with eyes.
What do you mean it has eyes?
Don't listen to potato. We eat potatoes and they have eyes. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Scallops. Stop it. Scallops have eyes.
Can you see? Is anybody joining?
Facebook, for some weird reason, is not showing anything except the screen and stuff. So, as I said, I apologize to folks, because one of the fun things over the past few weeks is being able to acknowledge all the folks who are logging on and sending me messages. I cannot see them, but I know people are watching.
Try to post something.
I did post.
No, I mean, like here.
Yeah, no, I did try and post a message before, and I can't see it, so you can try.
Let me see. I want to be on the TV.
Okay, hold on. Oh, hello. There's my wife Joyce wearing her gym clothes.
You just type
That's her mouth.
Type in there something.
Well, I'm trying. Yeah. So, hello to Facebook land. Type here. See, it's going somewhere, and people might be able to see it.
Where does it go?
I don't know, but it's just Facebook is not visually allowing me to see anything at the moment. It's brokenated. You don't care about this important scientific discovery?
I want to see the eyes.
They have hundreds of tiny little eyes, which are built like Isaac Newton's telescopes.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing?
So they have multiple eyes, not two.
Each eye has 2 retinas.
Oh, your mom could borrow one. Get a little retinal scallop transplant.
In 50 years, that's when they'll be...
too little. They're too little. You should have to have little teeny eyes.
Or you get a really mad scientist who transplants human eyes onto scallops. That would be So each retina has millions of little mirrors and square tiles.
Wow, it's like a kitchen.
I like when my pinkies do this. I think I'll just do this for the rest of the show.
Now you're like Foyor and Babushka.
So the lens focuses light onto the little scallop retinas.
Oh.
And here's the greatest thing. I got 2 eye things, 2 retinas.
Mm-hmm.
One retina is for straight ahead direct vision. The other retina is for peripheral.
Whoa.
Isn't that the most wonderful thing?
We can use that.
How can we use that?
We need another.
Our dog needs that. No,
we could use it just to see.
But this is an amazing thing. It's like when my dad used to love the comic strip BC, and they had a whole series that Johnny Hart was doing about cavemen discovering that clams had legs, but were hiding them all these years. And they said, clams got legs, but scallops have eyes.
You know what I say to that? Give me that.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that requires a tactile too. It does. For our Facebook friends, that's our noise machine, which goes.
Tom, Telly-Two.
There we go. So, I just, how did they discover something like that? First of all, Israelis don't eat scallops. Well, I guess that's why they're around. They're not dead and on plates. So there are so many of them.
How do you then? That's a lot of good science. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Wow. You know that's going to be a culinary thing in like the top quality restaurants. Scallop eyes.
Oh, God.
with braised short ribs or something.
It's like
which I would try.
Do like Betty Davis eyes.
Oh, they got scallops eyes. Do. So what else is going on? We got. We're talking about graduation.
I'm so sleepy.
All right. Well, sleepy.
Oh my God.
Anything else happen this week in our? No, of course, stuff happens in the world.
No, but no.
This week, but in terms of just life in general, regular. I don't think so.
People graduated.
Yeah. People going away.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, the traffic,
Monday.
I know.
All the people gone.
Traffic.
Go down,
How many people do you think? It's like 12,000 or what? How many?
Yeah, I think we're between 12 and 13,000 people.
That's life in a college town because the ebb and flow, yeah.
So there'll still be staff and professors and things and here and there, and students probably doing tours and crap. But it's going to be so nice.
An intercession, which starts Monday.
Yeah, that sucks. I feel
know.
bad for any professor who basically gives a final, grades a final.
Course copy and get your shells up.
The only good news is I assume like 90% of the intercession courses are online.
But that's even harder because it's a more upfront lead-in. So when you teach in person, your Canvas shell doesn't have to be completely developed. When you teach online, that Canvas shell has to be completely done. All the dates, everything's set and ready to roll. So that's like a fast turnaround.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but also I could have spent the whole semester getting that shell up. Or
I doubt that. Yeah.
Anywho, what else? Well, I was turning to Facebook for suggestions of things to talk about, but of course I can't see.
You can turn it off and try bringing up the.
Well, then I lose the video and I have to start the video again.
Okay. I don't know how you do it. Yeah. You're techie.
Why don't we just move into the first official segment of our Dave's Night? It's 25 after 9 already.
Good Lord.
We've already done anything.
I'm so sleepy. I'm sorry.
But what about our
potato dancing segment?
Yeah, okay, we can do that. Okay, enough of that. Especially since it doesn't really work on radio. That's a pure Facebook moment for our Facebook listeners and viewers. So, Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Why don't you tell the folks what that is?
You tell it. It's your show.
Okay, all right. Well, Greeley Crimes and Old Times is based on 2 different articles that appear weekly in our local newspaper, the Greeley Tribune. And one of them has to do with phone calls that come into our Greeley Police Department, into dispatch. And some of the phone calls are really serious, emergency, like help, I need a policeman. And other phone calls are more like help, I need mental help. And so those, the funny ones, are collected in this column in the Greeley Tribune, and they're funny. And we like to go over them and let you know what they are. Plus, there's another column in the Trib that happens every week that's put together by a writer there named Mike Peters, who goes through newspapers from 100 years ago, back to 1917. And
didn't you say we're going to try to get him on the show because he has that book out, 1917?
That's right. I should have. I don't have the time to deal. Maybe this week.
But it'd be nice to have him on. Then he could proselytize for his book.
Yeah, which again, it brings together all nostalgic, zany stories. I get a message on this computer some virus scan thing. Yeah. It just pops up. I can't control it. That
just like your mouth.
Where was I?
1917 Mike Peters.
Oh yeah. So he goes in and finds the most nostalgic, goofiest, funniest stuff from 100 years ago in our local newspapers. Anyway, we call the segment that we do out of all this Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Da-da-da-da. Fligiotendee, Squilliotendee-doo, Schladobidee. Greeley Crimes and Old Times we go here on this Saturday, December 9th, graduation day, by the way, here at UNC. Not for me, but for a lot of people who can get out of this place and not have to come back. So, are you ready for some Greeley Crimes, babe?
Yes, sir. I am ready.
Okay. Well, the county.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Okay.
Well, County Dispatch, this is just a piece of news. They're going to be accepting text messages.
Oh, God, no.
To 911.
That's not a good idea.
Isn't that the best thing to imagine?
That's not a good idea because, number one, can they... Like, my phone had me back in New York because my parents are there, so I had to switch my location on my cell.
Yeah.
And then, like, how do you know where people are if they text you? Can they track it?
Oh, I'm sure that, I imagine they could do pretty easily. I just imagine someone with dyslexia, like, calling 911 and saying, play. What's play? No, but anybody know play?
No, but if you're really, like, going through some deep stuff, how can you I don't know.
Well, actually, texting is kind of good. Imagine that, like, there's someone in the hallway, and you don't want to let them know that you're calling the cops. So it's like...
Yeah, then it goes beep, boop, boop, when you put your text. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Which emoji should I put for help? Is it a smiley or is it a scared emoji?
You put it on speakerphone. It's like, please hold for the next available police officer.
No, that's not texting.
Oh, no, wouldn't do that.
No. Okay. I can see how well you text, honey.
Yeah, or battery low.
If it would be you never check your text.
That's true.
You'd be like, what? I don't know. I'm supposed to check text, so.
Well, police still do receive.
That's going to change the game up.
Well, they still receive old-fashioned phone calls, though. They do. For example, police received a call from 29th Avenue and 10th Street. The caller said a woman approached her and told her there was money, quote, hanging off her tire. To change. She then handed the caller a fake $50 bill. So it's a scam that's more like a prank.
Oh, that's weird. Like there's money hanging off your tire and then they give you a fake 50?
Yeah. What could that possibly mean?
Maybe they want you to give them the real 50. That's weird.
Yeah, right?
That's a bizarro one.
Yeah. Like I found a $10 bill hanging off your thing. Can you give me 2 5s for it?
Or what they sometimes do with people, like they say, like, can you deposit it and give it to me like a check, but not with a...
Yeah, I don't
That's a lame-o one.
Is it?
I found money on your tire.
It's Polish fraud.
I found money on
fake
your
money
tire.
and found it on your tire. Oh, wait, was I supposed to do something else? Oh, there was a next step. Oh,
That's
well.
Weird. That's so weird.
Now, police also received a call from 17th Avenue. Ooh. The caller reported waking up to find her ex-boyfriend sleeping outside her residence. She also said her car wouldn't start. So her ex worked on her car and it started. But her ex-boyfriend told her that he had planted drugs in her car so that she would get in trouble. But she didn't get in trouble and she ended up going to work. These are like non sequitur stories today. It's like, what?
Well, I guess the moral of the story is like, if you see your ex-boyfriend outside your house and your car won't start, call the police and don't let him fix your car. But she let him fix her car.
And he put drugs in it.
Yeah, and he could have cut her brake line. I mean, what is, like, you don't let someone you broke up with fix your stuff.
Well, no, a lot of people remain friendly with their ex.
Why would he be sleeping outside? If you're a friend, you ring the bell and say, hey.
Well, maybe it was late. He didn't want to wake her.
That's weird.
I don't know.
That's weird.
Maybe she has a very comfortable car to sleep in.
Maybe he's the one who put the $50 in the other person's car.
Actually, how would he still have a key to her car? That's the creepy.
No, you don't. To damage a car, all you do is open it and go and muck with the engine.
No, but the car wouldn't start, so he fixed it.
You just open the hood.
Oh, really?
That's how you fix the car, yeah.
Oh. But how would he have known the car?
Because he probably took a part out and put it in.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I'm thinking. He's like, usually people mess up something and fix it. That's sick.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's why she called the cops. See, there's a reason some people do call the cops. We're doing really crimes all the time.
That's very confusing. I hope she did.
A German baker in Johnstown, Colorado.
You know, David, we used to have a good German baker at our farmer's market who made breads and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They're not there. Oh, I love that stuff. Oh,
yeah, that was good. We liked
good
that.
times.
But this is a German baker in Johnstown, but he is without a job now. He got fired after he made loaves of bread out of chicken feed.
Ew.
What? Ew, it's chicken. It's still food.
No, but it's probably corn pellets. I mean, even polenta I wouldn't make with that. What the heck? This is like the weird and bizarro news. This
He
is like
sold the bread to Johnstown and Milliken grocery stores, but when his boss heard what he had done, he fired the baker. And of course, it's a German baker in 1917, so they're suspected of everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of Johnstown, a headline in the
Ooh.
Johnstown Breeze newspaper.
That's nice.
Is that Johnstown Breeze?
Yeah.
Stated, quote, "Was all a mistake. No tar babies." This was the headline. It was all a mistake.
Yeah.
No tar babies. The newspaper had earlier announced that Mr. and Mrs. Tar of Johnstown had twins.
Whoa, and it wasn't true?
It should have been Mr. and Mrs. Dye.
Whoa! How do you make that mistake?
Well, the newspaper apologized to both couples. And if I were making the nice, I would put the headline up. I would say,
isn't that like Brer Rabbit and the whole? Yeah,
I was like, quote, "Tar babies a mistake. Babies die instead."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, isn't that great? No, I
yeah, but those things are horrific. People get very offended.
Well, yeah.
You know, like you always see, even in our local paper, it's like the person's name was like Mrs. Smith. It was really Mrs. You know, I don't know. Just, people get offended. You know, you can't.
I know, yeah. Well,
especially that. I know, but that's a big.
Look at what ABC News is going through when they had the whole thing about the Mueller. I can't keep that stuff straight.
What, a misappropriation?
Well, yeah, they pointed directly to Trump and this, and that it was not true.
Yeah, but we live in a litigious society. So maybe it's good our friend's son is in law school in case we need a lawyer.
Tell me about it, for sure.
Remember the guy who was a lawyer who closed our house? He killed himself.
Well.
So that's,
Was he an actual attorney, or is he more?
Yeah, he was a broker and an attorney. Yeah.
He was perfectly fine, and then he met us.
No, I think he had a little horse issue of finding fake 50s on horses, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. I didn't even realize that. This is going back 25.
Oh, God.
No.
Going back
19, 20 years.
96, 98, something like that.
Wow. Police received a call from 25th Street and 11th Avenue. The caller reported a naked man running down the street. And another caller reported that man wound up in front of a nearby restaurant.
Come on now, listen.
Maybe it was his ex-girlfriend's
restaurant. Can I tell you something? I want to tell you something.
Yes.
There's nothing. Okay. I worked in OR, ER, like when I was when I thought I wanted to be a nurse and I volunteered. And we used to eat in like recovery room, this separate area. I could eat during anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like people could be gushing, oozing, bleeding, bursting up. I don't want to see someone naked while I'm eating. Like you could do anything else. You could be vomiting, I'm fine.
What about breakfast in bed like a honeymoon couple?
Yeah, no, but not some stranger. Like imagine you're sitting somewhere, you're having a nice I
wouldn't want to be eating sausage.
No, you're like, let's say you're having a nice, noodle bowl or something, and you look out and there's some nudie person running around. That just disturbs my chi. I don't want that, It'd
be funny.
No.
But it was pressing his genitals against the glass.
I don't think that's right. Plus, it violates a health code, too, I would think.
He could turn around and press his butthole against the other thing that says open all night.
That's horrible, though.
Ian? Okay. Anywho.
What is our world coming to?
I don't know. Hey, speaking, California isn't the only place on fire. Raging fire that started at 11 o'clock on Friday destroyed the Macy undertaking business, apparently, causing $12,000 to $15,000 in damage. 2 women in caskets awaiting funerals were rescued without damage. Although they were buried extra crisp.
Yeah, but sometimes fire makes people like, ugh.
Well, yeah, they were dead.
Like rigor mortis, but you could sit up. I mean, yeah.
Ooh.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
I just think it would be funny if they were waiting to be cremated and it's like, hey, freebie.
I know.
And that's, by the way, that happened. That was this week. That was an old time thing. So anyway, We're doing Greeley Crimes and Old Times, by the way, on the Dave Scott, my radio program of the air. College President John Crabb.
Oh, Mr.
Of Crab
Crab. Can
Hall
we call him
fame.
Mr. Crab?
Mr. Krabs, yes. There he is.
Well, SpongeBob the musical, maybe that could be.
Yeah, he is college president, Mr. Krabs. He rose up in the world.
Wow, they did well.
And considering that he's for UNC, he must be as stingy as hell. So there you go.
Bum.
He spoke to the Greeley Commercial Club and this week and told them of the future building plans of the Teachers College.
Wow. Can I say that the ones that graduate the most are all the teaching professions? We have lines and lines of teachers, so it's still helpful.
Well, we're still
today.
known as a place that teaches teachers to teach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't want to send our kids out to make real money and to do things
No,
that
but
they'll be
teachers-
successful
yeah,
at and
but
feed
I
their
think-
families.
Yeah, but
They
if
become
you,
teachers.
but if you think about it, for me, what is the core? The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. If you teach people, you can infuse ideas, and I think teaching is.
You still believe
Yeah,
that?
I do. I still do. I think that for me, like as I age and get older, right, that the only thing you have when you go is your ideas. You know, you can generate people, you can generate, but if you have ideas and they live on in other people, then your ideas transcend your own mortality.
Ideally.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that.
You find the one student who carries
No, I think
forward.
everybody brings picks up different things and moves it forward.
One hopes.
You know,
One hopes.
it's
Well,
like years ago, people who taught, people who were in religious life,
mhm.
you know, nurses, doctors, those people. Well, nurses didn't make as much as doctors, but people who didn't make a lot of money, they had a status because of what they did. They had humanitarian or professions that help people. They were valued. You know, before greed became good.
Well, yeah. Well, how many years is it? 400 years ago, you're saying?
No, I mean, I think that many people they still do.
Ideally,
Yeah.
one hopes. But anyway, future building plans for the Teachers College here
Mm-hmm.
at what would become UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, understand, we have happening right now, they're building our campus commons
Mm-hmm.
for, $74 million
I don't know.
for this large, beautiful building. Okay, fine.
What
Right?
were they building then? Were they building what?
Check this out. For $1.5 million
Whoa!
in 1917
yeah,
money,
yeah.
but $1.5 million will include a new library, dormitories, gymnasium, and auditorium. $74 million
Wow.
right now
That's
for one
because-
building that nobody wants.
Well, you know why? Because they're building high-tech stuff in it. So they're building a whole like opera, like a whole theater for music.
Yeah, I know.
So those things are costly. It's
Yeah.
not like just rooms. It's like building Lincoln Center.
It's not like a shed.
Yeah,
I get
building
it.
Lincoln Center costs a lot of money.
Sure. So, but look at what 1.5 million gotcha 100 years
Yeah.
ago. 4 different
That's because they probably
dormitories.
had child laborers working there, and
Yeah. He said the new buildings will take about 20 years to complete, excuse me,
Wow.
but will last for the next 100 years.
Is that true? We should see what's the built.
So anyway, are these buildings on campus, some of them 100 years old?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or were they on fire and rebuilt in like
I don't
1950
know.
or something?
The older buildings, Gunter was regutted and redone. A lot of
Right,
the older
yeah.
buildings were I mean, Skinner's new.
So what scares me is they were
Yeah.
building these buildings. This item is 100 years old, and those buildings were supposed to last 100 years. Uh-oh. I start walking very carefully if I'm in some of those dorms right now.
Bishop Lair, don't go near the area.
Anyway. After Christmas candy boxes
Yeah.
for soldiers were sent to Texas.
Why to Texas?
Yeah. That's where all the killers come from. That's why
Go to
Texas. So Greeley residents, I mean, this was 1917.
Yeah.
It was the middle of World War One.
Yeah.
So they were sending these candy boxes, these Christmas.
Don't put
package
chocolate though.
Well, chocolate, yes, but they did not include tobacco or cigarettes.
Wow, prohibition, baby.
The Tribune Republican received the following letter, which stated in part, "Dear Sirs,
Ooh.
I received a copy of your paper last week and was much surprised with the final results of a tobacco drive by the would-be patriotic women of Greeley. Wow.
Wow.
I suppose
Posers.
check this out. I suppose we soldiers will have to be content sitting around the campfire eating stick candy and peanuts instead of enjoying a few pipes of tobacco."
Whoa, tobacco.
Talk about ingrates, man. The knitted goods you sent are appreciated, but there are a large percentage of boys who would rather shiver a little than go without their tobacco. Sergeant Carpenter Truck Company number 349, Camp Logan, Houston, Texas. P.S. The boys are just about to finish your last shipment of Percocet and mushrooms.
Wow! Could you send some more hallucinogens?
I mean, just what a whole the tobacco industry.
But think about that, like how beautiful it is. Even in that gripe letter, the person's so like, "Dear Madam," you know,
but still, we don't have to send. We're very grateful to our soldiers, but don't be a dick about it. Don't be like, "Hey, you sent us woolen things to keep us warm in a German winter, but we could really much prefer a Pall Mall cigarette."
And maybe some penicillin for our venereal diseases.
I was like, we got French women over here. They're crawling with bugs.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we got German women. We talked about crabs before. Their crabs really do have eyes. Anywho, we're doing Greeley Crimes at all times, ladies and gentlemen, on the Dave Scott, my radio program of the air. Actually, I think I one that Johnstown fire thing, or that was from 100 years ago. I accidentally I mixed up things myself.
Wow.
Because this cannot be from right now. Frederick citizens are apparently brewing their own wine.
Wait, I got that one.
Well, we were a little less politically correct back then. Yeah. Their own wine was labeled Dago wine.
Oh my God!
Doesn't that sound yummy? Dago wine. The miners bought 5,000 pounds of grapes this week.
So they can't get their tobacco. They got to make some schnapps.
Yeah, right. Families will make their own wine, which is not illegal.
Wow.
Yeah. Wine is considered very strong, though, and inexperienced tipplers will get the Jim Jams.
You know what I'm doing? I'm having the dachshund. I put little baggies on his feet, and I'm having him stomp grapes.
I want to get the Jim Jams. That sounds like fun.
Jim Jams? Is that like the Willy Nillys?
I guess it must be.
Heebie-jeebies?
Well, don't talk about my Willy.
Oh.
Let's move on. I don't even know how to go with that. In our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment, though, sometimes we go a little far afield.
Oh, no.
We go even past Greeley.
Is this potato
Even
news?
past Johnstown. Even past Denver.
Whoa.
Dateline España.
Oh, sí. ¿Cómo está?
I should say, a statue of Jesus Cristo, a statue of Jesus Christ, on display at a cathedral in Spain, has been hiding a secret message for hundreds of years in the most unlikely place.
Oh, Lord have us what?
It was stuffed into a hidden compartment in the statue's rear end.
What did it say?
The statue, called Cristo de Miserere, miserable Christ.
No, Christ of misery. It's like of suffering.
Well, yeah, because they had a message stuffed up his ass around. How would you feel?
It's a statue.
I mean, George Takei would like it, but most of us would prefer not to have a scroll.
What did it say in the scroll?
Shoved in our ass. The statue was removed from a church in northern Spain for restoration.
Mm-hmm.
When workers noticed the compartment beneath a cloth that covered the statue's bum. Quote, although it is usual for many sculptures to be hollow, it is not so much to find handwritten documents inside, said historian Efren Arroyo, the accent is on the other E, Efren Arroyo. Although the original document will be sent to the Archbishop, a copy was returned to the statue's hindquarters for posterity.
What did it say?
For posteriori. And they didn't say what it said.
Wow.
After further restoration of the statue's backside, a ceramic gerbil fell out.
Oh, maybe that's how we got ours.
Oh, yeah, maybe. It's this idea of where shall I put this message? If the Wailing Wall had an asshole, it's like somebody's
but it's probably somebody being, just cheeky.
Back in the day. Wow. That'd be really excellent, though, if some really sick person, glued hair to a crack in the Wailing Wall. And they just started going, pushing the message in. True story. Oh, man. I wonder if God knows, Michelangelo's David. One has to wonder. There was some author in there who was publishing a book. And like once a week, he just stuff his extra pages in David's ass crack.
It's marble.
Well, this is a statue.
That statue is probably plaster.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Oh well. Where was I watching that? About we were watching that cool show. Something ruins everything. Adam ruins everything, and they were saying that the only reason the Mona Lisa is famous is because it was. What was the deal?
She was stolen, and the painting was stolen, so
it became a cause celeb in the newspapers.
Yeah, and then it came back, and everyone wanted to see it. And the more you make something exclusive,
but it's not remotely the most interesting or best or whatever painting.
Oh, I agree.
It's just the most famous for being famous.
Yeah.
I want to watch more episodes of that show. I really like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's called Adam Ruins Everything. You can find it.
You can get it on the YouTubes.
Oh,
That's where my student watched it. Yeah, at the one party we had, she says she watched it on the YouTube.
Yeah. Well, yeah, cool. I would watch that on
He's
the go.
from a show. He's from Mythbusters. That's what she said. He's one of the Mythbusters.
Well, that makes sense. Because what he does, every episode follows the same path. He finds some major thing that people do, like going to college or having babies, and then he punctures all the myths, and he says, well, yeah, this is really bad about this, and you're being lied to, and all this is terrible, and then he'll find like one moment of uplift at the end, so he doesn't leave us all completely depressed.
Wow.
But it's a very good show. And what you like about it is he interviews actual journal writing scholars. And you see the citations on the screen. It's very cool. I should get my kids to watch that next. If I do a 123 again.
Yeah.
Because as I see, notice the ethos of that professor.
You got a cite.
Anywho, it is believed that the rivalry between Milliken and Johnstown, boy, Johnstown in the news so much, has reached a new level this week. Someone apparently collecting about 60 stray cats. Wait, I have a cat on this one. Do you know where that? Can you read this? No.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
There's a cat on there.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
We're doing the all-important noise machine here. There it is. Oh, this one here. That's nasty. Yeah, you're putting the mic over there. So someone collected about 60 stray cats in Milliken and dumped them in Johnstown in the middle of the night. They're gray cats, black cats, calico cats, and many other colors. And of course, this being 1917, someone said the cats were German. But you know what's kind of interesting about this whole thing is that Harvey Weinstein heard that there was a surplus of pussy and he rushed right over. Oh, okay, I think we get the point. Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I'm sure you did. Cat scratch fever.
Meow, meow, meow.
Because of new federal rules regarding dynamite.
Oh, wait. Oh, you should have played the homemade dynamite from Lord. Here we go.
Okay. The Gill Mercantile Company did not want to file for a license, so they took their dynamite outside of town to explode it.
Yeah, there you go.
You know this is not going to end well.
No, I know.
They didn't realize how strong the dynamite would be. Several buildings in town were shaken. People were frightened they'd been bombed. It was 1917. Somebody's blowing up dynamite. And windows were broken. The Gill Mercantile had 6 broken windows. Actually, what's interesting is the same thing happens when I break wind at Target. So there you go.
I actually saw another couple do that. They were in the shampoo aisle and they did the same thing. He made a foof. Yeah. She was like, "How could you do that?" I said, "Oh my God, I feel for her."
Well, he was actually trying to take a dump and he only farted, which makes it a shampoo. Okay, a fake poo.
No, I don't understand that.
Poo, that's comedy right there. That's my kind of comedy. Stop with the horn. Stop that already, Police, we have a couple. I have a couple more minutes of Greeley Crimes at All Times, and then we have other stuff to do on this day that's gone by. Remember, we got singer and actress Brooke Moriber talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon. We also have Greeley, we're doing Greeley Crimes at All Times. We have Inside Broadway. We've got Saturday Segues. We have our Bob Dylan sooner and later and we've got Potato News coming. So, oh boy, what a show we have for you. Police received a call from 7th Avenue and 5th Street The caller claimed a business in the area had, quote, exotic animals hidden in the basement.
Ew, like what? Like,
including large snakes, tigers, and large cats. When police arrived in the area, though, they found only 3 or 4 house cats, an English bulldog, and a pug.
wow. Maybe it's like Transformers. They morph into different, like if you feed them at night, those little things, like the furry things, if you fed them at night, they become monsters.
Women?
You just wait.
All right. Ow! She's throwing things at me, ladies and gentlemen. Deservedly, too, by the way. What was that movie? It was Goonies, wasn't it? Or Tribbles from Star Trek? Trouble with Tribbles? Oh, see, this is exactly the kind of thing our Facebook listeners can help us out with. Gremlins, that was it, not Goonies. How can I confuse Goonies with Gremlins? By the way, I want to remind everybody watching that we couldn't do this radio program without the fine folks of Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Hewlett, Long Island. They've been there since the mid-1970s. The Toron family has owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman Press, where they do fine quality work for reasonable prices, whether you're doing a black and white single copy or color copies or laminations or putting your how did that get on cue? There we go. Sorry about that. Or putting your
good dexterity
logo.
Very good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, on sporting equipment or pens and pencil sets, on balloons, on
Why should
flyers.
put your logo on sporting equipment?
Why wouldn't you?
I guess.
Yeah, you have golf clubs, let's say, or
That's true.
tennis rackets, and you put your logo when people play on that, or certainly pens and pencil sets, or articles of clothing, or shoes, or boots, or sweaters,
I would
pullovers,
think their
t-shirts.
biggest business would be making invitations, no?
That's still big for you, Minuteman Press, but
Yeah.
embossing apparently is their real big thing now.
What's embossing?
Because people don't make that many copies anymore.
embossing?
Where you take like a logo
okay.
thing and you make it real nice on
Oh, okay.
a winter coat or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, to find out more about what Hewlett Minuteman Press can do for you, give them a call, 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. They're actually still open, I think, for another 15 minutes today, but they will be open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, to serve all your copying, printing, binding, invitational needs. This is the time for holiday cards for sure. And by the way, if you tell them Dave sent you get 10% off any job, big or small. Hewlett Minuteman Press. They are the copy kings. Well, I am king of the world here on Dave's Gone By. I think, why don't we save the rest of the...
Oh, you want me to go get your drink? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
get my stuff. So
I'll be back
say
one
bye to
second.
the people. Oh, you're just
No,
running... Oh. We can say bathroom. It's 2017. We can say that you're going to make poo-poo, tutu, ta-ta, ti-ti. Or whatever you're making in there. But don't save it. I don't really need to see it. Anyway, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. The name of the program is Dave's Gone By. It is our 631st episode of this radio program. We've been doing it since October of 2002. Wow. So in all that time, we have done well over 600 episodes. You can hear almost every single one of them at our website, davesgoneby.com, DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. Also, the archives are there. You can stream them for free, download them as podcasts. They're MP3s, or just stream them right on your computer. Literally, every show from that very first one we did 11 o'clock at night on a Long Island radio station to the many years now that we've been here at this wonderful station at the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, Colorado. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. Thanking you for tuning in. We've got so much more of the program. Thank you to all the folks who, are listening on our regular stream, uncradio.org, and of course all these folks who are listening or watching now on Facebook. I just cannot acknowledge you this week by name because for some reason Facebook isn't showing me any of the usual sidebar columns. I know we're streaming, I know people are watching, but I don't see who's logging on. I don't see any messages, unfortunately. Probably I can see them later. If you post them or you send me a little message, I'll be able to read them later in the afternoon. Just not live right now. Sorry. But you know what? you just sit back, enjoy the show, because we got so much great show for you. We've got, coming up, Brooke Moriber talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon. We've got Bob Dylan sooner and later. We're going to play some Bob Dylan music. We've also got a couple of Saturday segues, and we've got potato news. Let's get to some music first. Let's get to our first Saturday segue of the day, because, in just a couple of days, I just need my notes here, on Tuesday night, Chanukah begins. Happy Chanukah, my love. Joyce is making little kissy noises at me.
I don't know if anything's going to be open, but what do you want me to do?
Well, Joyce is asking me what I want when she goes to the Munchie Mart at the university. I want my chocolate shake.
If it's open.
If it's open. If it's not open,
if it's not, you just want a coffee.
Give me a box of air.
Yeah.
I could use a hot,
okay.
Sweet, not too sweet, but a hot coffee.
Yeah, hot rather. Okay, yeah.
I don't really need anything else. I'm actually good to go.
I have like $20.
And of course, they have more of the mint teas that I love.
Let me get
And you know how I love a mint teas. Woo! So, thank you, sweetie, and get stuff for yourself too if you want, if anything's open. I imagine it's graduation day. Things are going to be open there.
Probably the bookstore. I don't know the food places.
Don't worry. And if there's nothing there, I've got my tea to drink. I've got other stuff here. I'm fine.
Okay, honey.
So thank you, babe. Thanks so much for helping me with the first part of the program. Love you. And
I love you too, sweetheart.
And I love doing this radio program. And I love playing music on the Dave's Gone By radio show.
Girl.
And you're going to miss, I'm afraid, well, actually, you can probably listen on your phone. We're going to do a Chanukah Saturday segue. Rabbi Saul would be so excited about this.
But isn't he in his prison work release program from prison? Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, but on Shabbos, he has listening privileges. That's what we do. So for Rabbi Saul and for all of you, we're going to play a couple of songs that make us think of the Chanukah, those 8 crazy nights. No, wait, 7 crazy nights, 8 crazy days, something like that. I can never get that balance right. But anyway, it's this really happy, totally, completely unalloyed happy holiday.
Shakes that you're feeling chocolate?
Chocolate shake, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see what I can get, baby.
Thank you, sweetie. Because basically, the Jews were oppressed in 2 different ways. They had political oppression and religious oppression. And they rose up and they conquered the Greeks that were trying to Hellenize them. I apologize to anyone named Helen who was offended by that. But the Greeks wanted them to become more Greek, more assimilated. And the Jews were like, look, we're paying you enough taxes, we're doing all that, at least still let us be Jewish people. And people like Judah Maccabee and all this. It's a really, really complicated, long story that I'm not going to get into because I read it 2 nights ago and I've already forgotten all of it. I just remember it has to do with, there's a candelabra, it's got 8 things on it. It represents oil that lasted 8 full days and nights 7 nights, 8 days in the temple that the Jews took back and cleaned up and got all the pork fat out of it. And so it's happy. And so happy Chanukah to everybody. We're going to play some Chanukah-related songs, albeit sometimes tangentially, here on Dave's Gone By.
Yes, you know it's true. Hope you need my love, babe, just like I need you. Hold me, love me, hold me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week. Love you every day, girl. Always on my mind. One thing I can say, girl, love you all the time. Hold me, love me, hold me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, girl. 8 days a week. 8 days a week. I love you. 8 days a week is not enough to show I care. Oh, I need your love, babe. Yes, you know it's true. Hope you need my love, babe, just like I need you. Oh, hold me, love me, hold me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week, 8 days a week. I love you. 8 days a week is not enough to show I care. Love you every day, girl. Always on my mind. One thing I can say, girl. Love you all the time. Love me, love me, love me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, baby. 8 days a week, 8 days a week, 8 days a week.
Celebrating Chanukah on Dave's Gone By.
Well, I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, the dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, the dreidel I will play. It has a lovely body, with legs so short and thin, and when it gets all tired, it drops and I will win. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I will play. My dreidel is so playful, it loves to dance and spin. I have to game of dreidel, come play now, let's begin. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I will play. I have an anal dreidel, I keep it in my hole. I spin it with my muscles, it's quite a nice gadol. Oh, dreidel, 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 it's sitting in my ass. And when it's high and ready, I twirl it with my gas. I have an anal dreidel, I keep it deep within. And if I eat my fiber, it never comes out shin. Oh, dreidel, 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 so tight between my cheeks. And when I spin it backwards, my anus hurts for weeks. I have an anal dreidel, it's tilted towards the gimmel. And if it spins too quickly, I'd cry out Gott in Himmel. I have an anal dreidel, I made it out of wood. And if you turn it slowly, it feels really, really good. Whoa, anal, 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 a dreidel in my tush. Know you wanna spin it, but watch out for the bush, yeah? I have an anal dreidel, which doesn't make me gay. But when I have an enema, they always hit the hay. Hey, dreidel, 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 I made you out of beads. And when I spin you upside down, my small intestine bleeds. I have an anal dreidel, and you might find that funny. But guess where the Grand Rebbe would keep his chocolate money? Oh, dreidel, 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 you're pressed against my sack. But still I like to keep you way up in my crack. I'm feeling pretty great. Got lockers on my plate. I love this holiday. I love this holiday. And kiss against the day. Like candles 1 through 8. And a new one every day. I love this holiday. I'm spinning dreidels, onions and potatoes. Coming to my table, smells so good, singing it's gonna be a night. 'Cause we're counting up to 8. Sleeping up a faith. We're gonna celebrate, break. It's Chanukah. Light the candles every night. The blessings will recite, side. The festival of light. It's Chanukah. The Judah Maccabee, his army was so weak, but they still beat the Greeks. Supply of oil wasn't great, but a miracle took place. It burned for 8 whole days. So in December, take time to remember, with 4 Hebrew letters, spinning round, singing it's gonna be 8 nights. 'Cause we're counting up to 8. And these rockets stay so great. That's how we celebrate, break. It's Chanukah. We made a dream out of clay. Play. You know, hey. Mother time.
Hey. Just remember, what's been getting you down, you should be thinking about the miracle of light and the story of the Maccabees. None and you don't get none, and you put one in if you're landing on a shin. If you wind up with a hay, you get half the total pay. But if you spin a little gimmel, then you take.
Yeah. 'Cause we're counting up to 8. That's how we celebrate, break. It's Chanukah. The candles gonna burn. The dreidels gonna turn. Some history to learn.
the band 613 on Dave's Gone By with their classic parody song. I mean, first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, it's great. It hasn't diminished one bit in the couple of years since that we played Chanukah, the Taylor Swift parody song from the band, or it's actually Chanukah, parentheses, Shake It Off from 613. Enjoying the upcoming Chanukah holiday. It's going to start on Tuesday night and then go on for 8 crazy nights / days. Well, no, 8 days, 7 nights. Why can't I get that straight? Anyway, all we need to get straight is that for that Saturday segue, I played the Beatles 8 days a week for the oil that burned for 8 full days when the Jews reclaimed and cleaned and made the temple all nice and renovated. And I think they added a pool room and I think they added a loft space for people too.
What's the song? There's Thieves in the Temple tonight.
There's a song called Thieves in the Temple? I don't know who did that one. Joyce is going to check. A song called Thieves in the Temple doesn't really quite ring a bell.
Oh, no,
and also that might be a Jesus thing more than a Hanukkah thing.
It's like, I think it's Prince.
Oh, it might be. So yeah, check YouTube or something on that. But anyway, for that Saturday segue celebrating Hanukkah, we also played the Bare Naked Ladies doing their version of I Have a Little Dreidel. I don't think they're a particularly Jewish band. They may have a Jew or two in them, and if so, well, we're happy that they're doing a dreidel song no matter what. And they did the classic I Have a Little Dreidel, followed by ABBA with their song. Now I threw that one in
Prince.
Just to make sure that you're paying attention. Prince did a song called Thieves in the Temple way back when. But again, wasn't it? No, well, it wasn't thieves. It was money changers that Jesus allegedly threw out of the temple. But the Jews threw the Greeks out, basically.
Think that's what Prince was referring to.
Oh, maybe not.
Love come quick, love come in a hurry. They're thieves in the temple tonight, like the Temple of Love.
Or the Temple of Love, or use his brain temple kind of thing. Anyway, and after ABBA, so we played the ABBA song, which was Hey, Hey, Helen. Get it? Because the Jews didn't want to be Hellenized on Hanukkah.
Very clever.
So you guys see Hellenized, Helen, ABBA playing the song about Helen?
David, see if that coffee's
Just asking if my coffee's
It's hot. I gave you straws, but see, because I gave 2 sugar.
Well, that's just the last straw, isn't it?
It's English toffee.
Oh, English toffee coffee.
Yeah.
Yay.
Only Munchmore was open.
Only the one, well, as opposed to, Einstein's, I guess, was closed. Oh, I'm going to add a little sugar, but it's very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. So, how are things out there? Is it crazy because of the graduation going on?
No, there are a few students who look lost in the UC waiting for people and texting, trying to meet in the last minute meetings and stuff, you know?
I hear you. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention also in that Saturday segue, we also played someone whose voice you will hear later on in this program, Rabbi Sal Solomon, doing his classic parody, kind of a parody tune called Anal Dreidel, all about his having a dreidel inserted in the place that statue had.
I know, you think it's funny they do it in a statue, but it's okay. Just don't spill your coffee, Bubba.
Well, the statue didn't have a choice.
Oh,
the statue's like, I'm sitting here forever, I'm okay, and then people start tucking messages up his ass.
The maker did it.
Oh, who did it?
The maker, the person who made it.
Oh, I wonder.
I think the person who made it, it's like when you make something, you give it a breath and life, and you give it a, how can I have 20 emails?
Joyce is checking her phone. She's already got 20 emails on a Saturday morning.
That's just insane.
Yeah. So, by the way, that's my wife, Joyce. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. The name of the program is Dave's Gone By. We've been doing it since October of 2000. We're just getting my coffee here. And we've got coming up more music to play. We're going to play some Bob Dylan songs in our Bob Dylan Sooner and Later segment. That will be happening in about an hour or so from now. We'll also have Rabbi Sal Solomon talking with actress and singer Brooke Moriber. She's really making a name for herself. She just sang about a week and a half ago the Star Spangled Banner at the New York Knicks game. So Rabbi Sal will be talking to her about all of that and about appearing on Broadway in such shows as the Three Penny Opera and the actual, we talked about this last week, there's a musical called James Joyce's The Dead, a musical on Broadway.
That sounds, and
it was good.
But I love James Joyce.
I know,
to me, like,
I know. But
Tower of Ivory, Hair of Gold broke my heart. It just killed me and nailed me.
Ooh, well, I I'm not even going to go there. I am so not going to go there.
I mean, the language was just so beautiful to me.
Yeah, Joyce is great. He's amazing. In fact, there was a professor here who I invited to talk to my English 123 class here at UNC. And she's very, very smart woman and a writer. And she is a language and linguistics scholar, particularly medieval and Renaissance language. And she is a Joycean scholar. And she's just, and she was talking about how to appreciate and read even something as completely abstruse and incomprehensible, supposedly, as Finnegan's Wake. And she loves it. She can read and parse James Joyce. I don't know how. I can read Portrait of the Artist. I can make it through a few paragraphs of Ulysses, and then, I'm done. I can't even read Dubliners. But anyway, I'm an idiot. That's why I'm teaching here in Naga, Columbia. But it is 10. What time is it?
It's a very different world. It's 10:16.
It's 10:16.
Graduation started.
Happy graduation to all the people who are not listening.
And the locusts sang.
Yeah. If it's boring over there at graduation, remember you can listen to us on your phone. You can just go to uncradio.org and listen to this radio program, Dave's Gone By, wherever you are. So if the speaker's boring or you've got this whole list of these kids or A through Z coming up, getting their diplomas, just put me in your little earpiece. Anyway, I love having my darling wife in my earpiece, babe. Thank you for helping me. I'll give you a call when I'm done.
I have a lot of mint tea.
I have a lot of mint tea. Yay, my favorite. Oh, this is the peach. Sorry. She just brought the mint. And, okay, so that's what's happening on this radio program. That's what we have to do from here on in. I'm going to start, I think, because, we did Greeley Crimes at All Times. We did all these news dispatch things. We told you what was happening in Spain with that statue. But it has been quite a while since we have honored our friends, the Potatoes, and said what their news is and what's been going on in the potato world, which is really, really important. Because humans aren't the only people who have news and things going on. And so we're going to start, for the first time in several months, I think, our latest edition of, let me make sure I find it, actually, the Potato News, to keep you posted on all, here it is. It's right on the top. I gotta get my head together for this. Ladies and gentlemen, the Potato News. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Good morning, good growing. This is Spudward R. Murrow with the Potato News. We begin in Cornwall, England, where police are seeking the so-called condiment bandit. No, he's not stealing ketchup. He's abusing it. Closed-circuit TV cameras at a shopping mall caught an unidentified man squirting ketchup on the windows of a surf and skate shop in the building. Although no damage was done beyond the mess, locals point to a student prankster as the culprit, with one resident saying, quote, "I work at a shop down the street, and we had mustard all over our windows last Saturday." The hunt for the condiment bandit continues. Well, I say, let's hope they catch up to the source of these incidents, because no one relishes a different outcome, no matter who it may not be. In extremely disturbing news, the Daily Meal has listed the world's 30th wildest potato chip flavors. Tastes include caviar Lay's, seaweed, chicken and waffles, hot chili squid, Jiminy Chips chocolate marshmallow, cool kiwi, Marmite, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. And there is also crab Lay's, though in this country, people tend to get crabs after Lay's. Among other potato chip flavors on this list, number 20, Lay's Maple Mousse, which, to honor Canadian palates, apparently has both maple flavor and actual mousse flavor in it. I'm not kidding. Number 19, Lay's Finger Licking... Pardon me, folks. Lay's finger-licking braised pork flavored potato chips. Number 13, Pringles Extreme Screamin' Dill Pickle. Number 8, Walker's Cajun Squirrel. These are real. Walker's Cajun Squirrel. And number 1, the number 1 most unusual potato chip flavor, as compiled by dailymeal.com, Lay's hot and sour fish soup potato chips. Yeah. In further international news, the United Kingdom has always been rather brutal to potatoes, but a new restaurant is taking the mass slaughter to another level. The Daily Mirror reports that McCain's has opened a roasterant, a venue specializing in roasted meats, whose common denominator is the same side dish every time. You guessed it, potatoes. Each platter will come with an unlimited selection of basted, never battered, potatoes. The good news is that among the main courses are, and I am reading this correctly, one of the main courses at this roasterant is pigeon with onion. I know this is terribly unprofessional, folks. Pigeon with onion rings. Oh, why did I bring this segment back? I don't. Okay, this is a real restaurant, ladies and gentlemen, in the United Kingdom called McCain's, and we all know just how much England is known for its cuisine. Pigeon with onion rings covered in chocolate gravy. Think about that for a moment, folks. Pigeon with onion rings coated in chocolate gravy. So the good news is it's unlikely that people will be eating many potatoes, because who would want to eat in that place at all? On the lighter side, Delish.com reports that the hot new party game this holiday season is called, wait for it, Poop the Potato. The Delish article by Sarah Weinberg reads as follows, quote, the activity does not involve eating a ton of potatoes and promptly depositing them. That's what Thanksgiving is for. Rather, you give each of your guests a potato and divide the room into 2 teams. The teams form 2 single file lines with 2 buckets directly across the room. A person from each team sticks their potato between their legs, races to the bucket, pops a squat, and drops their veggie into the pail. The team that poops all of its potatoes first wins. And huzzah, there is video. No word from the PABL, the Potato Anti-Belittlement League, about whether this goes beyond insensitive into a full-on hate crime, or, as they like to call it, a Tate crime. And now the weather. Unseasonably mild temperatures this coming week may hasten premature tuber growth, so the recommendation is to stay underground, absorb water, and wait until at least March before venturing into the local atmosphere. And that is the Potato News for Saturday, December 9th, 2017. I'm Spudward R. Murrow. Keep your prize on the eyes.
You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up.
Oh, yes. Inside Broadway we go, because, I've been a theater critic for many years now, about 30 years now, just about, and also an actor and a director and playwright and pretty much all things Broadway except design, at which I am useless. But I do love Broadway, and I love talking about the theater all over the place, all over the country and all over the world. And so every week we do a segment called Inside Broadway, just to keep you posted, just to let you know what's happening on stages because I find it important. So, for example, I want to let you know that, what am I letting you know? Oh, that there's going to be they made this official now, a play called Straight White Men, and that is going to be happening in July at the Broadway Theater, the Helen Hayes Theater, newly restored. Man's second stage theater has taken the Helen Hayes over, and so they're going to have their first show. I think it'll be their first, maybe their second, but it's a play by Young Jean Lee, an Asian playwright. The show is called Straight White Men, directed by Anna Shapiro, who won a Tony for staging August Osage County back in 2008. Can you believe that August Osage County was already 10 years ago when that first came up? But anyway, this is the first, apparently, the very first Asian American female playwright ever produced on Broadway. And they've cast the show. It's going to feature Armie Hammer, who was in the movie The Social Network, and veteran actor Tom Skerritt. But again, this is not going to be happening this particular Broadway season. It will be happening next season, starting in July, at the Helen Hayes Theater on Broadway. Well, speaking of Broadway, it's contentious times in the theater world at the moment. The Broadway League has filed a lawsuit against, their word, a cartel of casting directors who are trying to fix prices and create a monopoly, violating free trade and the Sherman Act. Stay tuned. So the Broadway producers, who generally turn to the same few casting directors to cast their shows, are saying, well, they're all collaborating and in cahoots with each other and fixing prices, and they want more prices. Meanwhile, casting directors say that they're entitled to better pay and benefits, and they're tired of being treated essentially like independent contractors. So they get the set fee and then they're set free. This will be kind of a nasty one. It's ramping up to be a little bit of a Broadway feud between the Broadway League and the casting directors. Stay tuned. Anyway, we're tuning our ears into a revival of a musical that was sort of had a cult popularity when it was first on Broadway in 1990. Michael Arden, the director, has brought a revival to Broadway. Circle in the Square Theater, and it opened last Sunday, a revival of Once on This Island. It's an Aarons and Flaherty piece. They were the folks who went on to do Ragtime, and gosh, I think they're the folks behind Anastasia. Could be wrong about that, but anyway, it's an adaptation of the novel My Love, My Love. It's a flavorful, sweet, bittersweet, Caribbean-infused musical. Or, well, it's actually French Antilles kind of area. I haven't seen the show in like 25 years, and I hope to see it on Broadway because the reviews were tremendous for this revival of Once on This Island. For example, Jesse Green, our friend of the neighborhood, writing for the New York Times, said, "What a delight this is. It's a ravishing revival." He reminds us that the director, Michael Arden, staged the revival of Spring Awakening a couple of years ago, the one with the Deaf West Theater Company that was absolutely, I will say, was sensational. So he's directing this too. He says that the pastiche Caribbean score, the words are restrained and delicately rhymed, but the music is relentlessly grabby and emotional, and the hallmark ingenuity, warmth, and intensity bordering on excess that characterized director Michael Arden's style is recapitulated everywhere, from the frankly stupendous singing to the electric choreography of Camille A. Brown. So a huge rave from the New York Times for Once on This Island. Also, the Daily News, our friend of the neighborhood, Joe Demanowitz, says that the score of the show mixes captivating calypso beats and warm ballads, all brought to life vividly by the fine-tuned cast, with exuberant dancing adding bursts of excitement to this bewitching revival. Newsday, Barbara Schuler, another rave review. Quote, Oregon teen Haley Kilgore plays Timoon. She is the lead girl. She falls in love with this boy who is way, way high above her social class. And he loves her too, but he can't really acknowledge it, and he puts her in some bad positions, and things go badly. But anyway, Haley Kilgore is radiant in the role. The director beautifully embraces the message of why we tell the story, the show's emotional closing number. So a rave from Newsday's Barbara Schuler, another rave from Total Theater's McCall Jeffers, who gave the show 3.5 stars. And she was writing that in the audience, she noticed people already kind of knew the score, and they were snapping their fingers at the right times, and they were really totally getting into it. She did have one little issue with the show, in that it's got colorblind casting in one place where this is a show that you kind of need to or ought to have color be a factor because of the class issues and the different families and things going on. So she said she found that a little confusing and not tough to deal with, and it certainly didn't ruin the show for her. It was just a recommendation that this is one place where you kind of do want to separate people by race and color, because the show's essentially about that on some level. But otherwise, she liked the show too. From the Logo channel, anybody know what happened to Michael Musto, who used to be on TV all the time, and he was a writer for the Village Voice for a couple of decades, and then, well, the Village Voice went through its monetary purge and got rid of so many interesting and cool writers, among them Michael Musto. Well, he's turned up on a website called New Now Next, and it's put out by the Logo channel, the gay TV channel, New Now Next. Anyway, Michael Musto went to see Once on This Island, and he admits that he found the original production in 1990 too precious, but he was enraptured by this revival. It sings, it floats, it soars. So Once on This Island, amazing reviews on Broadway in the revival that just opened at Circle in the Square. Well, to keep tabs on everything that's opening on and off Broadway, you're going to want to get yourself a copy or even a subscription to Performing Arts Insider. It is the Bible of New York theater. It's been around since 1944, and it is the place that people in the entertainment industry turn to for every fact, every piece of information about every show on, off Broadway. There's calendar chronological listings of when shows are starting previews, opening, and closing. There's also comprehensive listings of each show, not just the title and the theater that it's in and maybe the star and a line about the synopsis, but everybody involved and their contact information, the agents, the managers, the press agents, the production stage managers, all of that for every single show. Now, Performing Arts Insider comes out 21 times a year. You can also get it 12 times a year. There's a monthly edition. Either way, all the information is at performingartsinsider.com. Now, you can pick up a single issue of PAI both at Theater Circle and the Drama Bookshop in Midtown Manhattan in the West 40s. Or again, just go on performingartsinsider.com. It'll show you how to subscribe, how to send away for a single issue. If you care about commercial or non-commercial Broadway and off Broadway theater, you need to get yourself Performing Arts Insider. Now, Performing Arts Insider is put out by a company called Total Theater, and they also have a website that is absolutely free. It's called totaltheater.com. We mentioned it when we read McCall Jeffers' review of Once on This Island. This website compiles theater reviews, not just even from New York, but all over the country and all over the world, and it's absolutely free. So if you just venture to the Criticopia section, you'll see reviews of all the Broadway shows, and off, and international, and festival theater. You can even go to another section on the website called Periodica and read stories and articles and interviews about the theater. It's all great. It's all free. TotalTheater.com. And we certainly thank the folks at Total Theater for helping sponsor this segment, Inside Broadway, on Dave's Gone By. Well, there's more Broadway news to talk about. I want to let you know that opening this Tuesday, it's kind of been a weird season. Usually when it comes to Broadway, you get a lot of shows opening in mid to late October and early November. And then things slow down around Thanksgiving and the holidays, and they don't actually pick up again until March. This time, it was still slow all the way through October into November, and lots of openings towards the end of November and into December. That's really quite unusual for Broadway seasons, but it's been happening. We told you that Once on This Island opened. There was also another musical that opened this past week. We're going to tell you about that in a moment. And then we have a play opening on Tuesday night at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater. It's called The Children. And it's an English play by Lucy Kirkwood, directed by James MacDonald, and starring veteran English actress Francesca Annis, along with Deborah Findlay and Ron Cook. The plot has to do with nuclear engineers. They're boomers and they're about to retire, but they get some unsettling visitors with unsettling news. It's called The Children. It's a Manhattan Theater Club production, and it is opening for a limited run this coming Tuesday at the Friedman Theater. Oh, and I want to let you know there's something really, really cool happening at a Broadway theater, but just for one night, this Monday night. They're doing a benefit concert of Damn Yankees, directed by Kathleen Marshall. It's a benefit for the Roundabout Theater, but check out the cast on this, okay? It's been about 20-something years since Damn Yankees was on Broadway. They had that revival with Victor Garber, who was then replaced by Jerry Lewis, and I think they did another one after that that was pretty good. This is just a one-nighter, a benefit, but dig the cast, okay? You've got Whoopi Goldberg as Applegate, Maggie Gyllenhaal as Lola, so you know she's going to be sexy as heck, Matthew Morrison playing Joe Hardy, Stephen Bogardus as Joe, Julie Holston playing the sister, Danny Burston, our friend of the neighborhood, is in the cast, Victoria Clark, the Tony winner from, she was in Titanic, and she was also in A Light in the Piazza, Annie Golden, veteran actress from the Hair movie, all of those people, and check this out, they just announced it this week, in the Damn Yankees at the Roundabout, playing the team owner, Mr. Welch, and I think he's the guy who has that part in You Gotta Have Heart, Reggie Jackson, Yankee ball player from the Billy Martin era, Reggie Jackson, going to play the team owner in Damn Yankees. So that is happening this Monday night, December 11th, at the Sondheim Theater. It's a Roundabout, basically programs what goes in there. So I wish I could see that. Not so much for Reggie Jackson, but I imagine Whoopi Goldberg is just going to be great in that show. I want to say a farewell, we all do, if we love the theater, to actor Steve Elmore. 84-year-old Steve Elmore passed away this past week. He played Paul in the original Broadway production of the Stephen Sondheim George Firth musical Company. Now, Elmore made his debut in 1963. He was a chorus boy in the show called Jenny that featured Mary Martin. Then he was in the minor hit Fade Out, Fade In. He was in the one-night flop called Kelly. And then he replaced the character of Billy Flynn in the original production of Chicago back in the 1970s. And he was a replacement for Julian Marsh in the original 42nd Street, going back to the late 70s, early 80s. And the cool thing is that Elmore and so many other people were there for the 1993 benefit concert production. They did 2 nights of this, I think, of Company. Now, you know, funny, we were just talking about Company. He was in the original. They brought him back. He came back with so many of the original people. I didn't remember this for a 1993 concert of the show. And what's really fantastic is if you look on YouTube, you can find the full concert. It's a one-camera thing. It's not like spectacularly done for great performances or anything like that. But Stretch is there. Dean Jones is there. I mean, basically, they were all still alive. It was only 20-something years later after the original Company. So if you want to see that, what an extraordinary thing. That Company, that one-night benefit, has been preserved, and some wonderful person has put that on YouTube. So thank you very, very much. Well, we have a bit more Inside Broadway to do because, yes, another Broadway musical opened this past week. So kind of amazing that you had Once on This Island, got spectacular reviews, and then another show that people weren't expecting all that much of opened. It's the brand new musical SpongeBob SquarePants. It opened this week. It's got a book by Kyle Jarrow, and then they cobbled together a bunch of pop and rock songs for the score. So it doesn't even have an original quote-unquote score. But it is directed by Tina Landau, one of our most brilliant and, well, I'm not going to say experimental, but one of our most adventurous directors. And it's choreographed by Christopher Gattelli, and apparently that made all the difference. The show opened this past Monday at the Palace Theater. on West 47th Street. It stars Lily Cooper. She plays Sandy. Gavin Lee as Squidward, and newcomer and apparently rising star now, Ethan Slater, is playing SpongeBob. And it's a real simple story. Somebody's trying to annihilate Bikini Bottom. Will they be saved? The reviews for SpongeBob SquarePants were very good indeed. For example, David Gordon, writing for Theater Mania, says turning SpongeBob SquarePants into a Broadway musical sounded like an insane proposition. The result on stage at the Palace Theater, nothing short of genius. Kyle Jarrow's warm and funny script is a parable for our own political era. And Ethan Slater, whose uncanny performance as SpongeBob is superhuman, irony-free, and one of the best Broadway debuts of 2017. He blows the roof off the theater with a song by Brandon Urie called Just a Simple Sponge. Now, okay, that's one review. How did the other critics react? Well, Marilyn Stasio of Variety agrees. She says Tina Landau's hallucinogenic stagecraft transcends the show's television origins by speaking a visual language that is three-dimensional and boldly theatrical. Because of all the pop songs by different authors, there's no signature style, but there is plenty of giddy, goofy fun for all. Now, reserved a little bit more, not drinking quite as much of the seaweed-flavored Kool-Aid, is Alexis Solosky for The Guardian in the UK. She says this raw bar of composers makes for a lack of musical cohesion. And she said that Kyle Jarrow has to sacrifice some character development and narrative drive to work these songs into the story. But more conventional musicals don't have David Zeng's blissfully eye-popping set and costumes. Design and performances aside, SpongeBob is as perfunctorily entertaining as it is insistently forgettable. So she's kind of on the fence, like everybody else. She'd love the look of it and the feel and the whole immersiveness of it, but she had more trouble with the book and especially the score than some of the other critics. For example, Jeremy Gerard, writing for Deadline.com, wrote, "It's all silly and a little mind-numbing. There are way too many side plots and numbers that don't quite stick, and at 2.5 hours, the show will try the patience of customers young and old. But then Gavin Lee has this solo as Squidward, and the last 40 minutes is pure mind-rattling, eye-popping, rib-tickling fun." And, you know, Jeremy Gerard is not one of these rah-rah cheerleader types, so that's kind of nice to hear from him. McCall Jeffers, we mentioned her before. She writes for TotalTheater.com. She gave the show 3.5 stars. And this is amazing, she writes in her review that she was a SpongeBob SquarePants virgin before coming to the show. She had never seen an episode. So the show could be a little confusing and more than a little overwhelming, she says, to the uninitiated. However, it also has an outstanding cast and stellar production values. And finally, our friend of the neighborhood, Joe Demanowitz of the New York Daily News, writes, Ethan Slater as SpongeBob gives a breakout star turn, and the song Just a Simple Sponge? I'm sorry, that's his big breakout song, Just a Simple Sponge. Well, SpongeBob at the Palace Theater, he says, is simply a pleasure. So, 2 Broadway musicals opening in 1 week, both of them getting really, really warm and happy reviews from the Broadway theater community and critics. So let's celebrate a little by playing some music. Here's a tune from SpongeBob SquarePants, the brand new Broadway musical. It's called Hero Is My Middle Name.
If the world is gonna end tomorrow, wallowing in sorrow won't get us anywhere. You'll find all the strength you need is inside, like Poseidon riding across the tide. Don't let this moment pass by, come on. Hero is my middle name. Fixing trouble is my game. Just give it the old know-how. There's no better time than now.
Boris, but mine's Jennifer. My machines, they made a real prediction. It's not science fiction. There's nothing we can do at all. Why are you waiting for the bottom to fall? Not the top to drop the big beach ball. All for one and one for all. All for one and one for all. All for one and one for all. Hero is my middle name. Alright. Fixing trouble is my game. Just give it the old know-how. There's no better time than now. Don't give up and don't give in. If you're thinking sink or swim, courage is your claim to fame. When hero is your middle name, and hero is my middle name. All right, boys, let's do this. 3 heroes to the rescue. Team of trains to the top. Let's go. So come on, hero is our middle name. Fixing trouble is okay. Just giving you know-how. There's no better time than now. Don't give up and don't give in. If you think you're serious, courage is your claim to fame. When hero is your middle name, and hero is our middle name, and hero is our middle name, hero is our middle name.
You're listening to Dave's Gone By on UNC Radio.
I confess, I'm a mess. Wide awake at 4 a.m. Too late to call. I stare at the wall. Everything that you said, running laps around my head. Drinking alone, I stare at the phone. Show me where this is going. I'm overflowing. There's no turning back right now. Take me, don't care if you break me. It's driving me crazy. There's no turning back right now. There's a battle in my head, tearing up my bed. You keep me up all night. Got me aching for your touch, shaking from the rush. You keep me up all night. Take a breath on the edge of everything we left unsaid. Cutting so deep, stuck on repeat. Show me where this is going. I'm overflowing. There's no turning back right now. Take me, don't care if you break me. It's driving me crazy. There's no turning back right now. There's a battle in my head, tearing up my bed. You keep me up all night. Got me aching for your touch, shaking from the rush. You keep me up all night. Where this is going, I'm overflowing. There's no turning back right now. Take me. Don't care if you break me. It's driving me crazy. There's no turning back right now. There's a battle in my head, tearing up my bed. You keep me up all night. Got me aching for your touch, shaking from the rush. You keep me up all night.
Hi, this is Brooke Moriber, singer, songwriter, and actress. You can check out my new EP, Here and Gone, on all major music sites on the web. I am talking with Rabbi Saul Solomon on Dave's Gone By on UNC Radio.
Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is our old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And you know I love the theater because I interview so many theater people. And you know I love music because I interview so many musical people. Well, we have two wrapped into one, kind of like the double helix here. Her name is Brooke Moriber. She's done half a dozen shows on Broadway. She's done some off-Broadway shows as well. But in recent years, she has also moved into pop and country music. So we're going to listen to her talk, we're going to hear some of her music, and we're going to enjoy the company of songstress and actress Brooke Moriber. Shalom!
Shalom back to you.
Well, how are you? How are you, Brooke?
I'm doing well. I just saw on the website that you recently interviewed my friend
Richard Nelson, the playwright.
The playwright, yes, we did The Dead together.
I asked him when I was talking to him and said, you know, of all the things you're going to turn into a musical,
right, exactly.
I'm going to take a James Joyce story, not only that, but something that has dead in the title, and that's going to be a big bouncy musical. Did people tell you that too, or since you were just acting in it, everybody kind of avoided the topic and said, oh, it's going to be great?
It was great, and he did a great job with it.
Well, no, I mean, actually, the producer and host of this radio program, Dave, saw the show and liked it very much. But I'm saying when you first got the gig and were acting in it, did people ask you and say, you know, of all things, a James Joyce musical, The Dead, da-da, or was everybody going like, because actors want to be coddled and cocooned and, shall we say, protected from anything negative? What was the feeling about the show while you were doing it?
You know, I think in the theater community, people who know me were used to me doing shows that did not run very long and that were a little strange. So nobody questioned it for me.
Well, to be honest, you were in a play that has gone on, or a musical that has gone on to have quite a life outside Broadway, a show called Parade.
Oh, yes, that's one of my favorites. I'm so proud to have been part of that show.
Yeah, I mean, so it didn't have a long life on Broadway, but since then it's gone on and is considered a pretty good, serious musical of the late 90s, early aughts, you know?
Absolutely, one of the best, and it's funny because the show closed before it actually won the Tony for Best Music that year. So it was pretty sad for all of us. We were very invested in the show and the message, and I think that it's having such a life now. I think it's going to make a huge comeback at some point.
Well, I hope so, because, you know, as a Jew, and it has a Jewish theme. And,
yes, absolutely.
I mean, it has a dead Jewish man at its center. You can't get better than that.
You can't get better than that, no.
But you were still basically a well, you were not a child by that point anymore.
Well, teenager, but yeah, late teens, so.
But you were playing younger.
Yes, as we all do.
Well, you couldn't play much younger than when you first started on Broadway in Les Mis. I mean, you were 12?
I was 8.
You were, oh my God, you were 8 in Les Mis.
Yes, I was. My first Broadway show was my first audition. So it should always be that easy. But yeah, it was a shock to my system, so exciting and terrifying at the same time, but I was hooked.
And the thing was, you got into Broadway, I think, just by hearing the cast album of Les Mis near Castle.
Yes, absolutely. My parents had gone to see the show, and they were playing the album with the original girl who was in it, Donna Vivino, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be that girl. I want to do that. I auditioned, and I replaced her, which was crazy.
I can imagine. Oh my! So let me ask you, what do you remember what you auditioned with? Was it Castle on a Cloud, or did you?
Yes, it was. It was. I got on my knees. I sang Castle on the Cloud, and I did it for probably 3 or 4 auditions. It was like a 3-month process.
Give up. Well, wait. Did you have had other songs? Did you do 8 or 16 bars of something else, or was it always, oh, here comes Castle on the Cloud again?
You know what? It was unusual for an audition. I think, if I remember correctly, that's all that they wanted to hear.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is that Cosette's only song, Little Cosette's only song?
Yeah, she has some dialogue that she sings.
Right. Well, okay, that makes sense. You've got to make a big impression in those 3 minutes you're doing that number, so they might as well just see how well you do that number. I kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. As an adult, nowadays they kind of give you 25 pages of music to learn, and you don't know which piece they're going to pick, and then you come into the audition, they're like, we'll do the last page. And you're just kind of like, wait, I just spent like 3 weeks learning this whole piece, and you're just on the last page. Oh, my God.
So let me ask, as a child, when you went on Broadway, were you nervous, or nerves were never a problem? You were just kind of excited to be there?
Oh my gosh, nerves are always a problem, and anybody who says that they're not is lying, because I still get nervous to this day. I just sang the national anthem at MSG for the Knicks 2 nights ago, and I was just doing my Lamaze breathing beforehand because, it is energy. I kind of like being nervous because, I hate the feeling of it beforehand, but once I start singing, it goes away. But it does energize you. But yes, I was very, very nervous my first performance for Les Miserables. I actually, I almost ran off the stage before the curtain went up. I was so scared.
But something in you kept your feet planted on that stage and singing.
It did, and I've been hooked ever since.
But now I have to ask, when you did the national anthem at the basketball game, the Knicks game, were they standing? Were they kneeling? Were you kneeling?
That's funny. My mom said to me before I did, she's like, you're not going to kneel, are you? I was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to kneel. Although I do have a record to sell, so maybe.
That's like a way of giving you...
Yeah, everybody was standing.
All right.
Which is funny because all the basketball, I'm 5'4", but all the basketball players are like twice my size. So standing, I look at some of the video now, and I see that I look like a midget compared to these giant, like gods standing behind me.
Oh, well, by the way, you were standing on a basketball court. We're talking about the times that you were standing on Broadway stages and also some off-Broadway stages. We do want to remind people that you are now mostly concentrating on music rather than theater, and you have a new, I didn't even think they released EPs anymore, but they do. And yours is called Here and Gone.
Yes, I recorded this in Nashville, and I actually wrote all of these songs in Nashville. I've kind of found a little home there doing the kind of Americana pop style writing, and yeah, that's out now in all stores, and I'm really proud of it. So yeah, we do EPs nowadays. Nobody does the albums anymore unless you're like super, super, super famous and know that you're going to sell everything all at once. So it's good to give fans a little taste of something as you go along. So I'm basically just releasing singles and EPs right now, but I'm just constantly writing. I have so much music at this point that I want to release, so it's hard not to release a full album because I'm tempted to do it, but I want to just keep the flow and the fan engagement that way.
Well, but now your music is generally in a country pop vein?
It's not really country.
Okay.
It's funny because I'm born and raised in New York City, so when I play it in New York, everyone thinks it sounds country. When I play it in Nashville, they're like, this isn't country at all. So we call it Americana. I don't like identifying myself as a country artist because it's not true to who I am, because I'm a New Yorker at heart. but it is, you know, I mostly write pop music. The way that it's been arranged by my producer in Nashville gives it that little Americana twangy feel, as opposed to the electro pop type of feel that I've been used to writing in the past before I kind of found this niche, and I feel very comfortable there. Not to say that I'm not still doing the pop stuff. I'm basically doing both because I'm a Gemini, so I have two different things.
And yet it's interesting that you didn't, I wouldn't say gravitate, but you didn't move towards theatrical type songwriting, considering you were in Aspects of Love and Les Mis and Parade, which are sort of old, well, Les Mis isn't really old school, but it's ballad old. You were Follies, for God's sakes.
Yes, and I played the operetta singer.
Yeah. So, and
the Wild Party is probably the poppiest show that I've ever been in, and that's pretty much just not pop.
Okay, now you brought it up. Well, I brought it up first, but now you brought it up. I've got to ask. I have very few enemies in my life. I do. That I know of. There's probably a million people playing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but one of the enemies of me and this radio program is Mandy Patinkin. Oh, that's Mandy Patinkin. Ooh. So he was in this Wild Party that you were in.
Yes. Why is he an enemy?
Oh, my God. More than a decade ago, we were going to do an interview with him. He was doing a nice thing. He was going to do a benefit for the Folkspina Festival. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, the Folkspina Theater Company. So we're live on the air, and I'm waiting for the call. He calls up, and it's like, hello, shalom, and I do my little intro, and he hears, I guess, my voice and the way I talk, and I probably said, God damn it, which I tend to do, God damn it, and he said, I'm not going to do this, and hangs up.
What?
He did this. We have the tape. This is in our archives. That son of a bitch.
God, I want to hear that tape. That's hysterical.
Yeah, and it was not a pre-taped thing. We had 15 minutes then. That we were expecting to be filled with Patinkin-ness. And instead, I cursed him for 15 minutes.
I need to hear that. That's hysterical.
So what I want to know is, there were stories about him going a little bit ape sugar doing the Wild Party. So tell.
Oh, okay. So Mandy never, ever bothered me. He was nothing but a sweetheart to me. I know that he and Toni Collette absolutely hated each other on stage. Oh my gosh, I probably should not be saying this on
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
We have the same voice coach, and she actually told me that he went off his meds to do the Wild Party because he wanted to feel as crazy as the character. So that may have been why some were rubbed the wrong way. The thing about me, I mean, he's such a brilliant actor. He he wants to become the character that he's playing, and I totally get that. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about him because he was a sweetheart and supportive to me, and but I do know that some people have some issues, but I.
Yeah, him and Seth Rudetsky. Those are my mortal enemies. Everybody else.
Seth Rudetsky, all your enemies are people that I love.
And they're Jewish. What can I tell? Well,
right.
Well, Seth is a whole other story.
How do you?
No, he's mad at what I guess we can talk about this. Dave, the producer of this radio program, actually went to school with Seth Rudetsky.
Okay.
In junior high and high school, etc. So they knew each other. They've been in contact all these years. And finally he comes on the program after years of begging, pleading on, well, not exactly bended knees, sort of, bended knees with knee pads. We begged him to come on, so he finally comes on the show. We're having a wonderful time. But Dave asks him, I asked him a question that apparently was absolutely, completely off limits about his family. And he just exploded.
Oh.
Mostly off the air. He didn't really do it on in the interview. But afterwards, he wrote to the press guy, and he's just been, persona non grata ever since. So, oops.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. You know what?
What?
You're both very big personalities, so maybe that.
Yeah, type A's.
Oh no.
I'm more of a type Aleph, if you ask me. But
type Aleph, that's amazing.
Now here's a question for you. Since we're talking about creepy, scary people like me, and these we're talking about.
I did not say that.
Well, I read that when you were doing Aunt Dan and Lemon.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit to a play that our producer hated. No, you were fine. He liked you, and he liked that you were naked, but the play, blech. But you had a stalker.
You either really loved it or really hated it.
Hey, not a Wallace Shawn fan here, I have to admit. But okay. So, but you had a stalker in that show.
How did you know that?
Because you told it somewhere else on some other interview. I do my homework, goddammit.
Gosh, wow, you really do your homework. I don't even know if I ever said that on an interview, but I must have.
You must have, or you actually, I was the stalker. I have to tell you.
There you go. That I knew the voice was familiar.
You would see Payas going out the door just as you were. So, how did you deal? How did you cope with? Especially, we talk now about what's coming out. About
oh my gosh, that's true. Yeah. I can't remember how it kind of died down. I mean, the show closed, but I basically, the guys in the cab walked me to a cab and put me in a cab and had me go home. Made sure that nobody followed me. It was definitely creepy. Yes.
Now, have you had? You're a beautiful young woman, and you were a young woman, sometimes naked in shows. Did you have Harvey Weinstein experiences or James Toback experience, that sort of thing?
Thankfully, in musical theater, that's usually not.
Because everybody's gay, yeah, right. Well, any butch lesbians who are paying too much. No,
there you go. Yeah, no, I mean, I've actually been very lucky in the industry as far as that. And again, I am in musical theater, so I have been very lucky with that. As a woman in the world, I've experienced that, but in my business, not so much.
Well, good. I mean, here's the deal. Did you hear stories about people that are just coming out now? If you were in musical theater, everybody hears everything about everybody.
Right.
All the backstage, all the ushers, they know everything. And yet, hush, hush, don't say, don't that. And then 10 years later, boom, it becomes American, on every TV station. So were you hearing things about Kevin Spacey or these other people?
Not really, actually. No, it's not the stuff that's going on right now with these specific people. I have heard things in the past, and I actually can't even remember what it was, but and then it would come out and I'd be like, well, yeah, duh, But yeah, not with the people in particular who are being,
Okay. Now, let's talk about somebody who I hope is not creepy in real life, but can be creepy in his songs, which is kind of wonderful. You turned down, I think, a big opportunity to appear in one show, so you could do a Randy Newman show.
Oh, yes. Oh, I had my dream after playing young Cosette in Les Miserables was as an adult to play Eponine one day. And I booked the national tour, and it was going to pay me a lot of money. And I also got offered the Randy Newman show, which wasn't going to pay me a whole lot of money, but it was to work with Randy Newman. And
this wasn't Faust, was it? Which show was this?
So it's actually a show. It never made it to New York, which is really disappointing. It's called The Education of Randy Newman, and it basically is about, it's kind of a story of his life. And I played his first wife. And it was a great experience, and I think in the back of my mind I did know that at some point I wanted to take a break from doing musical theater to really focus on my recording career. It's really hard to do 8 shows a week, the recording career, so I chose to do the Randy Newman show because I wanted to work with someone that is in the business and I admire, and it was a really cool experience. He's a really cool guy. I was a vegan at the time, and he used to take the cast out to dinner and joke about how I used to cost him the most money because the vegan was getting the most expensive food. But it was in Seattle, and everybody's vegan in Seattle, so why not?
Oh, excellent. See, well, I don't just want to hear dirt about people. I don't want to hear just bad stories. I like hearing the nice things, too.
No, he's actually a really nice guy. So I have nothing bad to say about Randy at all. He's a sweetheart.
What about Wallace Shawn?
Oh my God, he's the cutest man in the world. And I've gotten to work with him 2 times or 3, I think just 2 times. Anton and
Well, you're in Three Penny Opera. Yeah.
Was that it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think that was it. Wally is like, you know, I don't even know what to do. He's just the most adorable human being. I can't, and just, he likes to pretend that he's not a nice person. I asked him once about a lyric in a song, and he's like, because I was like, is it really as dirty as I think it is? And he's like, I'm just not a nice person.
Yeah, no, I have to say the producer of the show, Dave, he saw that Three Penny Opera. No offense, he despised it, but the lyrics were filthy. They were intentionally disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a reaction. Some people had that reaction.
But not that we have anything against filth and horror here, but it was like, although you were in that show, my God, with Cyndi Lauper and Ellen, you should pardon the expression, coming.
He called me and said, do you want to be in a show with Cyndi Lauper? I was like, what? Yeah.
Tell us about Cyndi Lauper. Any great stories?
Oh my God, she was like, I mean, my idol. Linda Ronstadt, those peeps are I literally do not get starstruck with anyone. When I first met her at the first rehearsal, I couldn't talk. I was like, I love you. Cyndi is there. Oh, I have a really funny Cyndi story, which I'll in a second. She's really, really sweet, and as kooky as she comes off, she is like, she was so humble throughout the entire process because she had never done a Broadway show before. And she kept like kind of checking in with the rest of us in the cast, and she's like, am I doing this right? You know, she was very insecure about it. And in such a sweet way. It was just checking in with all of us. And I remember her just like sitting with a guitar backstage and playing some of her music for us once, and I was like, this is just the coolest thing ever. But she does not like to be recognized, because who would? If they were Cyndi Lauper, they would.
Well, if you don't want to be recognized, don't wear your hair and look like Cyndi Lauper. I mean.
Well, that's the thing. So she would always kind of walk outside with like a hoodie on. You know, she would walk outside looking like a bum. So I had an audition a couple of months after Three Penny Opera, and I'm walking out of the audition into the lobby of the building, and I see this homeless person curled up in a ball in the corner. And all of a sudden, it says to me, I was like, oh my God, this homeless person's going to attack me.
It's your stalker again, yeah.
Couldn't even tell if it was male or female. It was just a bundle of homeless. So, like, oh my God. And all of a sudden here, look, it's Cyndi. Like, oh my God, what are you doing? So she gave me a ride home in her limo.
There you go.
I thought she was a homeless person.
Wow. Now, also tell us, please, about Alan Cumming.
Oh, I love Alan.
He's a little freaky, he's a little funny, he seems like a cool dude.
He is absolutely the coolest dude ever. I remember us all partying Tony night, and it's like 6 a.m. and he's still going, and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open anymore. He has so much energy. It's like a child in an adult body, and he just has such joy in everything that he does. And it was just inspiring working with someone like that, who is so talented and such an amazing actor, but doesn't take it too seriously. And you know, it's not like he's like somebody who parties and does drugs and
well, no, I've heard his parties can be pretty wild. Maybe not the Tony one, but I've heard they're a little they're out there.
Yeah, but he's not. But he is centered. There's something about him that he can handle it. He's just, I don't know, Scottish blood. I have no idea what it is, but he is just never going to go off the rails.
God willing.
Handle it. Yeah. He used to have, you know, parties up in the, you know, club coming in the dressing room. I think that's what he used to call it.
Oh, well, okay. Not even going to go there. But let me ask you, how do you keep yourself from going off the... I mean, you know, you're a girl around theater people, now you're around music people, drugs especially, touring. How do you not get into that? Or do you?
You know, the one thing that I've had to be careful with is how do you handle your anxiety? For me, it's just about falling asleep at night. You know what I mean? I remember doing a show once, and I was trying like Ambien and Restral. I was just very anxious, and I've never had a problem. I've never done anything drug-wise except like smoke pot in high school, so that's never been an issue for me. But I think for a lot of theater performers, there's that we don't admit. There is something we have to be careful with, ways that we calm ourselves down, if it makes any sense.
No, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
By the way, we are not calm at all. We're excited having Brooke Moriber with us in the neighborhood. Remember, she has the EP out. It's called Here and Gone. You can find out more about it at her website, brookmoriber.com, Brooke. So you think of the water and add an E on the end. Brooke Moriber, MORIBER.com. And I have to ask you a question about this, Brooke. So, people of my faith, they came over on Ellis Island. They had to change their names, make their names sound less Jewish than that. You had a name. What happened to Sonny? What the hell? Back when you started acting, you were Brooke Sonny Moriber.
I know, and it wasn't even a fake name. That was really the middle name that my parents gave me. My sister's name is Ivy Dawn, so I don't know, my parents were hippies or something, I have no idea. But yeah, I just needed to separate the name for theater versus my music career, so I just took it out for the music.
Oh, so if you're doing theater again, what about when you're doing movies? Because you did a short movie last year.
Yes, I did. What did I use for that? I'm not even sure. I think it's mostly Brooke Sonny Moriber for film and TV stuff as well that I'm using, because that's basically what my theatrical representation uses. That's what's on my resume. But it's interesting. I have not been paying attention to that.
But you're in Nashville now, so most of the people around you can't spell, so you got to take a word out. I'm just kidding. Just teasing. Yeah. But by the way, so let me ask you. You always, every time anybody interviews you, the first person you go to in terms of being your idol and your inspiration is Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah.
So first of all, why her, as opposed to a number of other singers? And then I want to talk about some other singers who influenced you. But why specifically Linda Ronstadt?
Oh my God, the voice. I grew up listening to her. I just remember the first time I ever heard her sing, and it's just, there's a tone in her voice that is so beautiful and expressive, and she doesn't even have to try. It's just this natural, gorgeous tone.
I've been told that about my voice.
Oh, yes,
amazing.
exactly.
Yes. When I sing the Shema, nothing like it.
Very soothing.
So also, and okay, some other people that we might expect, like Sia, I think you mentioned as an influence, and
absolutely.
Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder.
Why Eddie Vedder?
I grew up on grunge music,
okay.
like high school, so that I was a very, very big Pearl Jam fan. His live performances are like no other. He doesn't give a shit. He gives it all out on stage, and that's why he's one of my idols, is because he just puts it all out there. Every performance is like his last.
Well, speaking of putting it all out there, as it were, do you protect your voice? Do you take voice lessons? Do you have exercises that you do?
I'm very, very good at warming up before I have a performance. I actually try to vocalize every morning when I get up, because you never know what's going to come up, and it's a mental thing for me. I like to feel like my voice is warm. But I feel like you can overtrain. One thing I love about Linda Ronstadt is that tone. You can't train that. So, there comes a point where people train too much and they lose their individuality. So when I train to strengthen, and I've been very lucky never to have any vocal problems, knock on wood. I don't think about protecting my voice when I'm on stage. I think about preparing it before I get on stage so that I don't do any damage and make sure that it's warm.
Before I conduct services, I spend 8 minutes coughing up phlegm.
I love it.
Yeah, have to do it. And then
Loogies.
Dulcet tones, all the loogies come out. It's fabulous. Now, let's a little bit about personal, because in all the interviews that I've seen with you and or read or watched on YouTube and stuff, haven't heard any bit about the personal life, which I can understand you want to keep to yourself. You have a dog?
No.
Oh, sorry, I
have
heard a dog.
better than a dog.
Oh.
I have a fully litter box trained, free-range Holland Wop rabbit.
Rabbit!
Absolute love of my life. And anybody who wants to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, if you want to see the cutest creature that roams the earth, you have to follow me if for any reason for that, because he is edible.
Oh, well, I hope not. That's wait a couple of years for that. Fatten him up a little more first. No, I'm kidding. But what about another kind of human or creature in your life, a partner person?
I have a husband with the same last name as yours.
No.
Yes, I do.
Wait a minute. You married a Jew?
I did.
Oh, my God. How did you meet him?
We actually have a very cute story. We met in high school. He's a few years older than me. I went to one of those underage clubs with my fake ID, and we dated for a summer, and then he left for college, and we broke up, and about 10 years later, I was doing a gig with my band, and he showed up, and the rest is history.
Oh, mid-mazel. I mean, mid-mazel, he was dating you when you were underage. We won't get into that. Wait, are you sure his name wasn't Roy Moore Solomon? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my Lord.
So how do you have to travel a lot. How do you keep a long marriage, more than 10 years, mazel tov? What do you do? I mean, is
more than 10 years? Oh, yeah, it is more than 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so does absent make the heart grow fonder, or how do you manage having that kind of career and having a marriage?
Honestly, he can come and visit me, but the rabbit can't. So that's the difficult one.
Oh, boy. If you ever get divorced, that thing's Hassenpfeffer. You know that.
No, I'm very lucky that he is so supportive of.
Does he travel to, or he can visit you, but what does he do?
He does come. He comes sometimes. He likes to travel, so he comes, along sometimes. But
and what does he do?
He's a lawyer.
Oh, that's how you can do what you do for a career. I get it. Okay, good. And he's Jewish. You marrying a Jewish lawyer. If he has a PhD, is it doctor too, or just jurisprudence?
Oh no, I know. Wouldn't that be the perfect area?
So what did your parents feel when you told them, Ma, Pa, marrying someone of the tribe?
Well, I am of the tribe.
What?
I don't know that about me because I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and they think that that's not what we're supposed to look like.
Also, Moriber. So what is your family background?
I believe that my father's side is French because Moriber is like Morbier cheese. So that's how I figured that.
Yeah.
Stinky cheese. My mother's side is from Odessa.
No, kid. So wait. Were you bat mitzvahed?
No, I actually didn't know that I was Jewish until I was 13 years old. I went to Episcopalian school, and I know the whole hymnal and the Lord's Prayer by heart. I went to church every single morning, so I didn't even realize it.
So at what moment did your parents say, hey, guess what?
I mean, I knew I had family in Canada who we went there and would celebrate Passover. I knew it was kind of like half and half, but I thought it was mostly Christian. I didn't know how it worked. We celebrated Christmas. We had Christmas tree and everything. I just... my grandmother just kind of sat me down one day, and she's like, you're Jewish. I was like, really? That's so cool.
You got to rip the crucifix off your neck by that point, but everything else was fine. So do you celebrate anything at all now? How are you spiritual? Are you religious at all?
I'm spiritual, yeah. I am not religious. I am spiritual. I believe in the culture and keeping the culture going. I think that's important. But for me, I'm spiritually just more kind of take a little bit from everything.
Well, we have been taking bits and pieces of everything from the delightful Brooke Moriber. I'm going to remind you one more time, you can get her new EP, Here and Gone, as well as her first EP. It was called Free, and that's all at brookmoriber.com, BrookMoriber, brookmoriber.com. Last question for you before we sadly have to let you go.
Before the last question, the other EP that you mentioned, Free, was actually called Fire, but I want to make, so I'm making that amendment to it. But
I'm sorry.
I had to take it off the internet because I signed a contract with a Sony distribution company. I'm going to be re-releasing it through that Sony distribution company. So, if you sign up to my website, you can get updates on when that's going to be released. We're doing a big music video for that as well. And also check out my other music videos on YouTube. They're pretty fun.
Well, Mazel Tov, by the way, Sony, that's as big as it gets. Mazel Tov.
Well, it's not a record deal yet. It's just a distribution contract, so.
All right, still, in this day and age, nobody gets record contracts anyway.
Oh, nobody does. You have to do it all yourself.
Well, let me ask you, speaking of doing it yourself, when you sit down and write a song, what is your process? Are you there with a guitar? Are you at a piano? Words first, music first, what?
It's different every time. I play the keys. So, sometimes I literally will have a song come to me in my sleep, and I sleep with, my iPhone near my bed so I can tape record before I forget it. And it's really annoying because I value my sleep very much, but I don't want to forget the song before I wake up. Sure. And sometimes it's awful when I play it back in the morning. I'm like, what am I thinking? And sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really glad I woke up and recorded this. In fact, one of the moments that I had where I came up with something in my sleep is the chorus for my song, The Last Goodbye, on the EP, which is the second song on the EP, and it's one of my favorites on the EP. And basically almost the entire chorus is what came to me in my sleep. But sometimes I have an idea of what I want to write about, and I'll sit down at the keys and start playing some chords and then just kind of start singing over it. And hopefully it happens organically that way. I also do co-writes with other people, and that's always feels like a first date and getting naked in front of each other for the first time because you're kind of like be vulnerable and come up with stuff together. It's always really awkward at first, but I'm really enjoying doing co-writes lately, and you get to know each other very quickly, but the process is different every time.
Well, one last thing I'm going to ask one more question, and not about getting naked in front of people, because we've both done that.
I know we've been talking about getting naked a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit. Well, but here's another question. You were doing a lot in Nashville. Are you living in Nashville now, or are you still a New Yorker?
No, I'm still a New Yorker. I can't leave.
I was going to ask, can you ever leave New York? It's expensive, it's going downhill, it's this and that, but it's still New York.
No, that's the thing. And I've actually thought about moving to Nashville or LA, because I spend a lot of time in LA as well, but I spend a lot of time in Nashville. I feel like I'm down there probably 40% of the time, and I could live in a much bigger place than I'm living in right now. Everything would be so much cheaper, but I'm born and raised here, and there's just something about New York City. I can't.
I will say, wherever you are, whether it is New York, whether you're in Nashville, or God forbid, Greeley, Colorado, wherever you find yourself, Brooke Moriber, we will be listening to you. We will be hoping that you do a bit more theater work. We're sorry that you kind of went away.
I haven't, yes, and I have not left it. I will come back. I just took a little break to work on my music, but I still have, my heart is still there as well, so I haven't forgotten you guys.
Oh, good. Well, we will never forget having Brooke Moriber in the neighborhood with us. We wish her much continued success with acting and music and marriage and everything else. Brooke Moriber. Oh, last question. What is your Hebrew name?
Zahava Bracha.
Zahava Bracha?
Yes.
What a beautiful name. Zahava Bracha, Brooke. Thank you, and shalom to you.
You as well. Bye.
I'm sinking in shadow. reaching up for your light. How deep can the sea go? It's hardest at night. I'm long gone. There's a hole in the bottom, I just might drown inside. Sun and never see the sun again. 99 days of rain all over me. Every cloud is broken. When's it gonna soak in? 99 days of rain keep showing me. The heart can break 100 ways. 99 days of rain. Yeah. Sometimes I just have to wonder if I can take any more. I can roll with the thunder till I come out of the storm. Yeah, I'm long gone. There's a crack in the sky and I just might find my way home and see the sun again. 99 days of rain all over me. Every cloud is broken. When's it gonna soak in? 99 days of rain keep showing me. The heart can break 100 ways in 99 days of rain. Yeah. Keeps pouring down, just like the sound of a heart that breaks 100 ways. 99 days of rain all over me. Every cloud is broken. When's it gonna soak in? 99 days of rain keep showing me. The heart can break 100 ways. The heart will bleed for yesterday. The heart can heal and wash away. 99 days of rain. Yeah.
Come gather round, people. It's time for Bob Dylan, Sooner and Later. Early tracks, recent songs, bootlegs, and more. It's Dylan on Dave's Gone By, where everybody let's get down.
Yes, indeed. It's Bob Dylan, Sooner and Later, on the Dave's Gone By radio program of the air. We heard some catchy music there from Brooke Moriber, and we certainly thank her for being with us in the neighborhood and talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon. You're going to want to get her 2 EPs. And we do love music here in the neighborhood. Now, the music that I grew up with, being a child, essentially a child of the 70s who listened to a lot of 60s music, was Bob Dylan, and he is still my favorite, the tutti favorite of all time. So every week we play a couple of Bob Dylan songs here on Dave's Gone By just because he's Bob Dylan. So we were looking for a theme to do for this particular episode, and we thought, hey, in a couple of Bob Dylan songs, he mentions the word brook. In honor of our delightful guest, Brooke Moriber, we're going to play some Bob Dylan brook songs. Get it? So here's your deal. You've got to listen to the songs and then, at what point in what lyric does he mention the word brook? We're going to start with the first of 2 versions from the complete basement tapes of Bob Dylan fooling around with the band in that big old house in Big Pink in New York. And Take one of Apple Suckling Tree.
Old man sitting in a rainy book, old man. Old man down in the belly and a hook on me. Gonna pull me down on the suckling hook bed. I'm just lazy on the belly brook, oh yeah. Now it's underneath that suckling tree, oh yeah. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. And underneath that tree, that's just gonna be you and me. Underneath that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. I'll put you like and I'll stand in line, oh yeah. And I'll push my lady and stand in line, oh yeah. And I'll push my lady and stand in line. I'll get on board like a 2-hour time, oh yeah. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Underneath that tree, that's just gonna be you and me. Underneath that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Out that tail out of who's the tailbone, yeah. Who's on the table, who's the tailbone, oh yeah. Who's that tail out of who's the tailbone tonight in burning hell. Oh, this time, oh, you know, baby, oh yeah. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Underneath that tree, that's just gonna be you and me. Under that apple suckling tree, oh yeah. Dog went a-cutting and he did right. Dog went a-cutting and he did right, Dog went a-cutting and he did right with a sword and a pistol by his side, And he rode right up to Miss Mousie's door. He rode right up to Miss Mousie's door. He rode right up to Miss Mousie's door, gave 3 loud raps and a very big roar. Said Miss Mouse, said Miss Mouse, are you within? Said Miss Mouse, are you within? Yes, I said, I said it's free. Took Miss Mousy on his knee, Took Miss Mousy on his knee, Took Miss Mousy on his knee. Said, Miss Mousy, will you marry me? Without my Uncle Rat consent, Without my Uncle Rat consent, Without my Uncle Rat's consent, I wouldn't marry the president. Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his fat sides. Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his fat sides. Uncle Rat laughed and he shook his fat sides. I think his niece would be a bride. Uncle Rat went downtown. Uncle Rat went running downtown. Uncle Rat went running downtown to buy his niece a wedding shall the wedding supper be? Where shall the wedding supper be? Where shall the wedding supper be? Way down yonder in the hollow tree. What should the wedding supper be? What should the wedding supper be? What should the wedding supper be? Fried mosquito with a black bee. Well, first to come in was the flying mother. First to come in was the flying mother. First to come in was the flying mother. She laid out the tablecloth. Next to come in was the Judy bug. Next to come in was the Judy bug. Next to come in was the Judy bug. She brought the water jug. Next to come in was the bumblebee bee. Next to come in was the bumblebee bee. Next to come in was the bumblebee bee. Said mosquito on his knee. Next to come in was a broken black flea. Next to come in was a broken black flea. Next to come in was a broken black flea. Danced the jig with the bumblebee bee. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. Next to come in was Mrs. Cow. She tried to dance, but she didn't know how. Next to come in was a little black pig. Next to come in was a little black pig. Next to come in was a little black pig. She ate so much, made her sick. Next to come in was a big black snake. Next to come in was a big black snake. Next to come in was a big black snake. Ate up all of the wedding cake. Next to come in was the old gray cat. Next to come in was the old gray cat. Next to come in was the old gray cat. Swallowed the mouse and ate up the rat. Mr. Frog went a-hopping up over the brook. Mr. Frog went a-hopping up over the brook. Mr. Frog went a-hopping up over the brook. A little white duck and swallowed him up. A little piece of cornbread laying on a shelf. A little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. A little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself.
Playing some Dylan on Dave's Gone By.
I like to spend some time in Mozambique. The sunny sky is aqua blue, and all the couples dancing cheek to cheek. It's very nice to stay a week or two and maybe fall in love, just me and you. Lots of good romance. And everybody likes to stop and speak. They give the special one you seek a chance, and maybe say hello with just a glance. Lion likes to her by the ocean, reaching out and touching her hand, whispering your secret emotion, magic in a magical land. And when it's time for leaving Mozambique, then say goodbye to the sand and sea. You turn around and take a final peek, and you see why it's so unique to be among the lovely people living free upon the beach of sunny Mozambique.
From the Desire album, Dylan on Dave's Gone By. Sorry that because of the way our plugs are here, in terms of, I literally do not understand why this is, but you couldn't really hear Scarlett Rivera's amazing violin that you hear all over Desire when we play the music through the system, or even when you're listening to the show online. So I'm sorry that you don't get the full cool stereo effect. So you get the bass and the guitar on one side, but Scarlett Rivera, her violin, which you hear very clearly on the record, is kind of drowned out here, which is just a reminder anyway that if you don't have a copy of Bob Dylan's Desire album, it's one of his last truly great ones, pretty much all the way through, and very worth hearing. And the last one where he had a really tremendously great voice. So we're playing some Bob Dylan music on Dave's Gone By in our weekly Bob Dylan Sooner and Later segment, and we dedicated that one and devoted that one to Brooke because of our guest in the neighborhood, Brooke Moriber, who was talking to Rabbi Saul a little while ago. So we played 3 Bob Dylan songs that mentioned the word Brooke in them. Did you find them? Did you hear them? For example, we started up top with Apple Suckling Tree from the Complete Basement Tapes. Now, if you knew the Basement Tapes released by Columbia Records in the 1970s, you know that wasn't the version released 30-something years ago, 40 years ago. That was the second take. We played the first take that didn't come out until, I don't know, about a decade ago, when they released the so-called Complete Basement Tapes, like disc after disc, have everything the band and Bob Dylan did when they were up, in upstate or Westchester, New York, doing Big Pink stuff. But anyway, we heard Apple Suckling Tree, where the lyrics, at least in that first version, go into the suckling brook. Oh yeah, I mean, I know it's very hard to understand the lyrics. And as a matter of fact, if you listen to the second version of Apple Suckling Tree, the lyrics are all different, because he was just making these up as he went along almost, or jotting stuff down on a piece of paper 3 minutes before the band started playing it. That was the fun of the Basement Tapes. So anyway, the take 1 version of Apple Suckling Tree, followed by that very, very long but complete rendition of the standard folk tune Froggy Went A-Courtin' from the Good As I've Been To You record. And in that song, you hear Mr. Frog went a-hoppin' over the brook. Mr. Frog went a-hoppin' over the brook. Get it? The whole raison d'etre of this segment is brook. And by the way, who knew when I heard the song, first time I really realized how badly things turn out for Mr. Frog. In this, because it's Froggy went a-courtin', he did right, and he met this girl, and then all these people come to the wedding. Were anthropomorphic, not actually people. But all these other animals and creatures come to the wedding, and then suddenly the frog gets eaten. In the second to last verse, he's chewed up and eaten. I didn't know that. I didn't realize there was a song like a Grimm's fairy tale. And then in the last one, of course, the big line of, if you want any more, you can sing it yourself, which so many folk singers have interpolated into their own folk songs. But anyway, we heard Froggy Wung a Courtin', which also mentions the word brook. And finally, that incredibly bouncy and catchy tune from Desire called Mozambique, going back to 1976. The lyrics on that run co-written, as many songs on Desire were, by Jacques Levy. The co-vocals on that song by Emmylou Harris. The lyric in there? Well, the sunny sky is aqua blue upon the beach of sunny Mozambique. Now, what does that have to do with Brooke? Well, we cheated there. The sunny sky is aqua blue because, as the rabbi pointed out, when Brooke Moriber appears in theater and goes on Broadway and off Broadway, she uses her full name, including her middle name, so it's Brooke Sunny Moriber. I know, okay, it's cheating, I know. But for us, she was Brooke Moriber today, so we played 2 Brooke songs and a Sunny song from Bob Dylan in our Bob Dylan Sooner and Later segment. And yes, we are grateful. We call Brooke Moriber now a friend of the neighborhood because she was on the show earlier, and we thank her for that. And we like to keep tabs on our friends of the neighborhood. We like to tell you what they've been doing since they've been on the show. And because it brings us credit to say, hey, we had so-and-so on when he or she was on Broadway, or when they wrote a book, or they put out an album. And now here it is, so many months or years later, and they're still at it and doing other great stuff. So let us hear about the friends of the neighborhood. So this week, friends of the neighborhood news, I want to remind you that you can see actress friend Linda Lavin co-starring with Elliot Gould in the new CBS sitcom 9JKL. It's popular enough that CBS ordered 3 new further episodes of the season. So check it out on CBS 9JKL. And speaking of things that you can tune into once a week, remember that our friend Jane Siberry, she does this cool thing like we're doing right now on Facebook. She does it on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's a Jane Siberry talk show. You just kind of tune in. She's there and talks and sings. I don't know if she takes phone calls or what she does, but she is certainly a brilliant composer, songwriter. You're going to want to give a look to Jane Siberry on Facebook Thursdays at 8 Eastern. I want to let you know that on December 9th, so that is tonight, you can see Marilyn May and her trio at Iridium in New York. It's at 1650 Broadway. For more information, go to theiridium.com. And also today or this evening, Electric Hot Tuna is playing on Long Island at Huntington's Paramount Theater. Now, Hot Tuna still contains 2 of the founding members of Jefferson Airplane, both of whom have been on this radio program, Jack Cassidy and Jorma Kaukonen. They'll both be there tonight at the Paramount Theater in Huntington. And also tonight in New York, the Ziegfeld Society is doing a concert honoring the great Meredith Willson, the guy who gave us the unsinkable Molly Brown, which may be coming back to Broadway, and also The Music Man, one of the almost major classic musicals, and he wrote a bunch more songs than that. So they're doing a tribute to him, and that is happening tonight, featuring our friend of the neighborhood, Robert Cuccioli. That is at the Onassis Theater up on West 46th Street in New York. And then here's the big one I was telling you about before, the Roundabout Theater at their Stephen Sondheim Theater. So the theater company is the Roundabout, and they own or they're leasing or they have the Stephen Sondheim Theater, and they're doing a big benefit there on Monday night, a reading of Damn Yankees. I told you all the people are going to be in there, Whoopi Goldberg and former Yankee Jesse Jackson and Victoria Clark, but also our friends of the neighborhood, Danny Burston and Julie Holston. So 2 even greater reasons to go see that benefit on Monday night of Damn Yankees. Also happening that Monday night in New York at Birdland, it's Jamie DeRoy and friends with our mutual friend, singer and songwriter Melissa Manchester. So she will be there on Monday night at Birdland. Also, Monday night at Feinstein's 54 Below, David Yazbek and the band with, he's going to have a special guest of Katrina Lenk. And obviously, that's got to be a mutual love fest because his musical, The Band's Visit, opened to rapturous reviews a couple of weeks ago, and it's making her a big star now. So she's going to be appearing with him, kind of mutually repaying favors there. And you can see them both at Feinstein's 54 Below this Monday night. Also want to let you know that, let's see, wow, a lot of stuff Monday night. David Spencer and Alan Menken's musical, The Apprenticeship of Dougie Kravitz, is getting 2 readings at the York Theater Company over in St. Peter's Church on East 54th Street. Now, this was a show they were trying to get up to Broadway and New York. I swear 2 decades ago, they were trying to do Dougie Kravitz. Never happened, wasn't interest, whatever. They started doing it, working on it more, then did it regionally a few months ago, and the critics loved it. So I think there really is going to be, within the next 3 years, I would not be surprised if we see a staging, maybe not on Broadway, but we'll probably finally see Spencer and Menken's Dougie Kravitz make New York, and I would certainly hope that happens. Anyway, also want to let you know that on Tuesday night, Urban Stages is doing a tribute to conductor and music man Barry Levitt. It's called The Maestro and His Music. Lots of cabaret people are going to be taking part. And I apologize for not knowing this and not mentioning this. I just found this out when I got the press release for the Barry Levitt tribute. Barry Levitt died. Yeah, he died. Not that I'm laughing about that, but he died back in September 21st, after he had a massive heart attack. And there have been tributes in the cabaret world since then. Barry Levitt was on this program a couple of years ago. And for me, who likes to keep tabs on Friends of the Neighborhood, I really, really apologize for not knowing a lot sooner that happened and telling all of you. So farewell to our friend of the neighborhood, Barry Levitt. And cabaret people will be paying him a farewell tribute Tuesday night at Urban Stages in Manhattan. And then Wednesday, the very much alive and well Sherry Eaker is presenting an all-star evening at the Bistros. It's 2 different shows, so you can get like $50 tickets and stay for both of them with food and drink. So it's David Mayoko is playing Liberace with Chuck Sweeney joining him, and Chuck plays Peggy Lee. That's interesting enough. And then the show after that is Lauren Stanford playing singer Helen Morgan. That is all happening at Urban Stages on Wednesday evening. Oh my God, it's $45 for both shows, and you get a glass of wine in between. How can you miss it? And we thank Sherry Eaker for producing that. Also, Wednesday night at the York Theater, if you don't stay for that second show at Urban Stages, you can head up to the York Theater and see Desperate After Dark, which is a review of cabaret songs by our friend David Friedman. Well, Friedman's been kicking around for a few years, and he had that show that he did with Kathy Lee Gifford a few years back about the gospel preacher, famous woman, I forget her, Annie or Amy something, and that flopped on Broadway. But he's done some other stuff, and now he's got an off-Broadway hit courtesy of the York Theater called Desperate Measures, and keeps getting extended. So they're going to take a 10 o'clock evening on Wednesday and play some of the songs and do a cabaret show of songs that you won't hear in Desperate Measures. And I'm sure a couple from that musical about Amy Semple McPherson will be done there too. So that's Wednesday night, later night, 10 o'clock at the York Theater. I want to remind you that, speaking of the York Theater, James Morgan, who is the artistic director, also moonlights, I guess the word would be, as a set designer. He does it for all the shows at the York, and he also does it for a couple of other theaters off Broadway as well. Well, he has designed the set for Irish Repertories. Well, I've lost it, I'm sorry. I missed a couple things. Forgive me, but playing now through the end of December, Irish Repertory Theater's It's a Wonderful Life, which is a radio version of that classic story that Frank Capra turned into a movie, or well, it was a movie, and now they're turning it into a radio theater play kind of a thing. James Morgan doing the set for that now through the end of the year at Irish Repertory Theater. I forgot to tell you that running from Wednesday through December 24th, if you happen to be in Florida, in North Miami Beach, go to the Jewish Community Center there, because Avi Hoffman is playing poet Itzik Monger in Reflections of a Lost Poet. It's in Yiddish, but there are English supertitles. That is happening in Florida it's happening for about a week and a half, from December 13th through December 24th. On Thursday, this Thursday, December 14th, Christine Lavin will be at the Christopher Street Coffee House. If you've never seen Christine Lavin, you have to. So go see her. She's a wonderful friend of the neighborhood. And then this Friday, we keep talking about Urban Stages on the west side of New York. But Urban Stages is doing something cool on Friday evening at 9:30. It's Tom Tose and the Winter Rhythms Songwriting Circle. He does this about once a month. He hosts this songwriting enclave get-together. You're going to want to check it out Friday night at Urban Stages. Well, remind you, and also this coming Friday, check out, I love this radio station. I think UNC radio is pretty terrific. But a station that I used to be on doing theater reviews, oh my God, probably 17, 18 years ago, was the station up at Fordham University in New York. And it's WFUV, and they're pretty well known. And as I always joke about, or mock on this show, when I talk about other radio stations and college radio stations that aren't really geared towards the student at all, have very little, if anything, to do with college kids and more to do with former professional DJs who find a foreign legion sort of place in a college station to continue doing what they're doing. Well, WFUV in New York at Fordham is exactly like that. All the big shows are done by people who are older than I am. Well, I will say this. Fordham gets some pretty cool people. That's kind of an Americana pop folk station. And this is, stop that from playing. Start that again. Fordham on Friday night is having its holiday cheer benefit at the Beacon Theater in New York. I think that's up on 72nd or 74th Street. Anyway, Amy Mann, our friend of the neighborhood, and Randy Newman on a double bill for the Fordham party. Come on. That's pretty awesome. We get Fyodor and Babushka here at the University of Northern Colorado. They get Amy Mann and Randy Newman. Oh well. But anyway, if you want to see them, that is this coming Friday, December 15th. Reminding you that the actor Galinsky is in his one-man show, The Bench, that is playing at the Cherry Lane Theater, and it's directed also by our friend J.O. Sanders. David Mandelbaum directing Awake and Sing in Yiddish, in Yiddish, that is at the 14th Street Y over on 2nd Avenue through December 24th. Also through December 24th, Danny Burston, who we just mentioned doing one of these special benefit evenings. Well, Danny Burston is also in the midst of starring as Isaac Babel in the new play Describe the Night, happening at the Atlantic Theater. And by the way, if you happen to be in and around the Washington, D.C. area, well, avoid the White House, but otherwise, go to D.C.'s Arena Stage, because Donna McKechnie is appearing there in The Pajama Game. Our friend Donna McKechnie and our friend Martin Charnin, the lyricist of Annie. If you've never seen Annie, go see it in New Jersey at the Paper Mill Playhouse. It is running through the end of the year. And let's see what else. Oh, of course, all the Broadway shows that our friends have created. For example, Alan Menken wrote the music for Aladdin. David Yazbek wrote the music for The Band's Visit. At the Stephen Sondheim Theater, Beautiful the Carole King Musical has a book by our pal Douglas McGrath. And A Bronx Tale, the musical on Broadway, 3 of our friends in the neighborhood responsible for that one: Chaz Palminteri, Alan Menken, and Glenn Slater, that is over at the Longacre. Daniel Breaker is playing, who's he playing? He's playing Aaron Burr in Hamilton, a little show you might have heard of at the Richard Rogers Theater. School of Rock features lyrics by Glenn Slater. That's at the Winter Garden. Rondi Reed is playing Madame Marble in Wicked on Broadway. And finally, let's see, you have about one more month to catch Spamilton by Gerard Alessandrini off Broadway. That was only supposed to run a couple of weeks. It's run a year and a couple of weeks at the 47th Street Theater, so congratulations to him on that. Reminding you that every Monday night it's Jim Caruso's cast party at Birdland. Reminding you also that for a cool website about New York theater and film and nightlife, check out StageBuddy.com, put together by our friend Evan Seplow. Reminding you also that TheaterScene.com is a cool website of theater reviews, and it's coordinated and founded by our friend Jeannie Lieberman. She's a theater critic. Dr. Demento is still doing new Dr. Demento shows at his website, and the old ones are archived there as well. And what else? Finally, Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at his website, bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the neighborhood. It is just about 10 minutes after 12 Mountain Time here at the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley. We're doing the Dave's Gone By radio program of the air. It's our 631st episode of the show on this December 9th, 2017, finishing finals week, leading towards our winter break here in Greeley. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, and I'm not breaking yet. I know we say that this show airs from 9 until noon on Saturday mornings on UNC Radio, but we tend to stay a bit overtime because I have more to do. I got more music to play for you, and proud to do that. And this is one of my favorite segments every week. It's called the In the News Saturday Segue. It's where we play some songs, and not only do you hopefully enjoy the songs and get to listen to them, but you have to figure out, why is Dave playing that this week? What does that have to do with something going on in the world at large and current events? It could be the title of the song, could be the singer or the band, could be the overall theme of the tune. So it's sort of your listening ears and your thinking caps of songs in the news in our Saturday segue. Well, we're going to start geographically and politically with one of the more unique instrumentalists out there, or he was out there. Nobody knows, I guess, if he's still with us, but he certainly was a few years back, and his name, or at least what he called himself, was Louie Louie.
God never makes anything that he doesn't first make a place for it. That's a law. He made the firmament or space, and there he placed the sun, moon, and stars, the earth, heaven. He made Eden and placed a garden in there. He made the Garden of Eden to place Adam and Eve there. And then he made Jerusalem for our King. There is a Jerusalem inside of you.
Might want to get the kids out of the room for this one.
I'll tell you one thing I can't stand about Russia is the dead bodies in your hotel room.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
Because I booked into a second-class hotel, second-class hotel, 2 stars. And I asked room service, for a light meal because I was going sightseeing the next morning. And I said I'd like some chips and, steak, medium rare, and a banana fritter, And this bloke come up to the room, and frankly, it wasn't what I ordered. He brought up 3,000 dissidents with their testicles attached to electrodes. And I said, call this fucking room service, not room service. I said, I asked for chips, steak, and banana fritters. I'll get 3,000 fucking dissidents on a tray.
What are they trying to pull? Eh? Well, I think we had camps.
I said, if you're expecting a tip, mate, if you're expecting a tip, you can get the fuck out of my hotel room.
Yeah.
Anyway, they just dumped them down on the floor.
Yeah.
All these dissidents. I got talking to them. Some nice blokes actually.
Yeah.
Sergei Wolankov.
Wolankov.
He wrote some poetry. He wrote a poem saying the Soviet Union is a cowardly, Mr. Brezhnev is a cunt, and I want my freedom, you see. And he published that in a dissident newspaper.
I'd rather be room service than in prison.
But I'll say one thing for Russia, the health service is tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you're ill, they kill you.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's no fucking about with cures.
Well, I got the right idea.
And now, Dustin Hoffman in The Merchant of Venice.
And here's to you, dear Antonio. Peter Hall's the real star of the show. Ho, ho, ho. But in my dreams, dear Antonio, I invent a way to steal the play. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. I'm walking here. Hello, Shakespeare, my old friend. I think that you're the living end. Your immortal words are now fixed up. Since I got your harder lines mixed up. For sometimes my old movie roles combine and entwine with the sounds of Shakespeare. Hath not a Jew eyes, Mrs. Robinson? I've added Rain Man to the text by playing Shylock more perplexed. And Ratso Rizzo may come creeping through just to keep my fans from sleeping through and excuse all my strange autistic talk as Shylock. It helps the sounds of Shakespeare. If you prick us, do we not bleed? Definitely bleed. Definitely bleed. And in my dream last night I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. Definitely more. Look them up in the phone book. Memorize A through L. People waiting in a line to go to my hit show, to be in the know. And they'll love me if my acting's good or bad. They're just glad to hear my sounds of Shakespeare. The box office ticket exactly $44,813.12. There are exactly 24 swizzle sticks on that table. Uh-oh. Time for Judge Wapner. The quality of mercy is not strained. The number's over. Definitely over.
Dave's gone by. Saturday Segue.
I guess the song speaks for itself.
Mandy Rice Davies, you're the gals for me. Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davies, I'll keep you company. You can have your Marilyn, your Carolyn, your Jacqueline. Grace Kelly never meant that much to me. Just give me Christine Keeler, Mandy Rice Davies. You're the gals for me. I'll give you secrets, and you're the gals for me. Oh, you get good defense from Robert McNamara. Defense us all day long. But when Lord Profumo takes off his mascara, you know he can't go wrong. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Lord and Lady Astor, everybody's gonna lose their minds because of Christine Keeler, Mandy Rice Davies. Will you be mine, all mine? I'll take your pictures. Will you be mine, all mine?
Hey Joe, cours pas comme ça. Dis, y a pas le feu chez toi. Hey Joe, viens dire bonjour, t'en mourras pas. Moi je rentre à l'heure qui me plaît, j'ai même plus de montre, j'ai tout mon temps. Ce qui m'attend chez moi, je le sais, rien qu'un lit froid sans personne dedans. Hey Joe, si on parlait, hein, mais de quoi? Hey Joe, le Vietnam, la bombe, tu t'en fous de tout ça? Comme tu dis, la vie, c'est le métro à 6 heures et chacun pour soi. Et pour toi, Joe, il y a toujours une place, mais pas pour moi. Pourquoi? Hey, Joe, pourquoi t'as de la chance plein les doigts? Hey, Joe, en laissant pas marcher dans quoi? T'as toujours les poches pleines, la voiture de l'année. Dis donc, ma parole, on en oublie que t'es si laid. Ouais. Moi, Joe, tu vois, je n'ai plus rien. J'ai pensé avoir une fille bien à moi. Mais il paraît, Joe, qu'elle dort maintenant entre tes draps. Bravo! Tu vois, Joe, hier je rêvais d'avoir ta peau. Mais Joe, je parlais de voir souffrir. Et de cette fille, je t'en fais cadeau. Hey, Joe, allez, bonne chance, Joe. Hey, Joe, allez, bonne chance, Joe. Hey, allez, bonne chance, Joe.
And one more song in our Saturday segue of tunes in the news.
So I'm gonna make myself a little something to eat. Get a can down off the shelf, baby, a little something sweet. Haven't spoken to no one, haven't been in the mood. Pour some soup, get a spoon, stir it up real good. Go out with
friend. Maybe old music might help. But I can't pretend. I wish I was somewhere else. I wanna watch the ocean bend, the edges of the sun there. I wanna get swallowed up in the ocean of love. Put on my coat, walk into the street. Get up in my throat and look down at my feet. Take a long way home so I can ride around. Put me yo-yo and turn up the sound. Drive up the coastline, baby Ventura. Watch the waves make sounds out on the water. I wanna watch the ocean bend, the edges of the sun there. I wanna get swallowed up in the ocean of love. Stand in the shower, clean this dirty mess. Give me back my power and drown this unholiness. Lean over the toilet bowl and throw out my confession. Cleanse my soul of this hidden obsession. I wanna watch the ocean bend, the edges of the sun there. I wanna get swallowed up in the ocean of love. I wanna watch the ocean bend, the edges of the sun there. I wanna get swallowed up in the ocean of love.
Just occurred to me how long it's been since I've heard a Lucinda Williams song. It's good to hear her music, and it's good to play her music on this radio program, Dave's Gone By, in our Saturday segue of songs in and around the news. So we played Lucinda Williams doing a song called Ventura from her 2003 record, World Without Tears. Well, there's lots of tears, of course, going on in California now, in Ventura and all these other places in Southern Cal where terrible wildfires have been burning for a few days now and just growing up. It was so wild waking up about 2-3 days ago when they said, well, this fire's been burning for several hours now and it is 0% contained. How'd you like to be living in California and hear that this fire that's been starting and blazing, and you're seeing the smoke come over the hills and mountains, and the TV people saying, yeah, our containment is at the moment 0%. And it's just, there's one fire here and one fire there. The Ventura seems to be the worst. There's been only one fatality so far that they know of. Some woman got into a car accident fleeing the scene. But as far as we know, nobody's been burned to death. But I hope they get a handle on this thing. I know what it was like about 4 or 5 years ago in Colorado, even in northern Colorado, and going down 20th Street or trying to drive westward toward Fort Collins or Denver, and just seeing the black smoke of the fires that they were having up there. That was nasty, nasty stuff. So I can't even imagine what it's like to wake up in Los Angeles and environs in Southern California. I hope they get containment on this. I think about 400 and something structures have been burned so far, well over 100,000 acres. It's just kind of nuts. And I didn't even realize this. This comes less than 2 months after a previous deadly wildfire killed 44 people and destroyed 9,000 homes in California. I mean, all we've heard this year is about these hurricanes coming through and the damage done by weather stuff. I totally forgot about these fires, and hopefully they'll get this one in hand. But we played Lucinda Williams doing Ventura from World Without Tears to honor the folks over in Ventura, California. Well, we started that Saturday segue up top with the one and truly only and unique musician Louie Louie doing his instrumental called The New Jerusalem. Well, we hinted at this one last week. We played the song about Jerusalem in our last show because at that time it was said that Donald Trump would probably say this week that the capital of Israel is Jerusalem, and that's exactly what he did. On Wednesday, he was giving a speech, and he said that, we're not going to pussyfoot around this. We're going to say it plain and simple what is true. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and we're even going to try and move our embassy there, not in the near future, because they got to build an embassy over in Jerusalem, but this is where it is and is going to be. A couple of questions I have about this. First of all, I don't know why it takes an American president to say that Jerusalem is a nation's... I mean, isn't it for Israel to say that it is, whether or not it is? And Israel, I assume, is saying that it is. I just don't know how America and not even the UN gets the say in that. But still, okay, that's one thing. And then, of course, as soon as the news broke, the Arabs went crazy. That's what it had. The thing is, they're saying that moving or admitting or saying that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and meaning it would somehow damage the peace process. Well, what peace process? I feel like I'm doing a Rabbi Saul speech here, but it's like, what peace process has there been over the past, decade, 2, 7 decades, right? How can it possibly hurt the peace process any worse than appeasement and saying that the capital's in Tel Aviv has done? So why not? And the great thing, and usually, like everybody else, I'm scared by Donald Trump's tweets, and I don't know what he's thinking of at 3 a.m. when he tweets something. But something that he put together in a tweet was all these previous presidents, going back to Clinton, and then Bush, and then Obama, all 3 of them saying very plainly in a speech that Jerusalem was the capital of Israel. Okay, you can go find this on the interwebs, go find it on Trump's Twitter. I mean, it was a montage of 3 presidents saying very clearly the exact same thing that Donald Trump said. It's only now suddenly they're taking him serious because he's going to make good on a promise. And he's saying, we are treating Jerusalem as the capital and not just paying lip service to Israel to say so. And yet everybody's saying, oh, no, the left wing is saying, oh, shame on Trump, and how can he say this? And what good does this do America for causing a tinder keg, exploding powder in the Middle East by saying what is true? It's sort of like if New York decides to move the capital of New York State from Albany to Rochester, right? That to me, and I guess to the vast majority, hopefully, of Israelis and of thinking American Jews, is the same as moving the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's all Israeli land. It's Jewish homeland land. Okay. Now, if you want to keep the capital in West Jerusalem, where the Jews are, and not in East Jerusalem, fine, okay. I don't consider it a divided city, but you can certainly have different provinces and parts of it. But, to me, if they were to move the capital of Colorado from Denver to Fort Collins, that is the same to me as moving or saying that the capital is moving from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Same country, same people, same government. So I know I've got all these left-wing people watching. And in fact, my coworker, the guy in the office behind me, posted something on Facebook earlier, right next to me on my floor in the department at the university. Posted something the day that Trump made his announcement. It's like, how can you do something so stupid? And I'm like, nope, not stupid, just true and righteous and standing behind what he says. So that's the thing about Trump now, man, because 80% of the things he does, you just want to shake him and throttle him and get him and Pence and all those idiot Republicans out of the White House. And yet, every once in a while, he does something where you go, he made a promise during his campaigning, and he means to keep the promise, and he is keeping the promise. And he's doing something rightful and righteous, maybe because he's influenced, of course, by Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, and his now Jewish daughter. Maybe because he just understands that that's what it is. Whatever it is, I applaud Trump on that piece of the same man who is defending Roy Moore. This is why it's mind-boggling. This is why I should not watch Fox and MSNBC and CNN and HLN. It's why I should avoid those channels completely. And I have a completely different life. There you go. I don't know what I'd come on and talk about on the radio today. But anywho, for that little piece, the Israel piece, I do applaud President Trump without equivocation. Okay, moving on, we heard those famous English voices of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, who in those kinds of sketches were calling themselves Derek and Clive, from the Ad Nauseum collection, their little bit on Russia. We played that because, well, you might have heard this week that Russia has been banned from the 2018 Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, because in the Sochi Olympics, there was massive, widespread doping in Russia that they traced back to a state sanctioned. So it wasn't just a couple of coaches or players doing it. It was Russia literally looking the other way and encouraging their athletes to use performance-enhancing drugs during the Olympics. And so Russia has been banned from the Olympics, except not quite really, because they're saying that the athletes themselves can go compete under the Olympic flag. So instead of saying Russian athlete Petrov Nadovtsikov, sorry about that, is not from Russia. He happens to be a Russian Olympic athlete. He is the Olympics from Russia. Okay, fine. And it's not as big a deal as you think it would be, because I remember, and maybe you folks, if you're my age, you remember that Miracle on Ice back in 1980, man, when Reagan was just coming into office after the terrible Jimmy Carter years, and things were crappy in the United States, and we were still scared of Russia, the evil empire, the Iron Curtain had not fallen yet. So it was a big deal when America played Russia in that big hockey game at the Olympics and won. Do you believe in miracles? We do. It was exciting for a day or two. It was like things were turning to shit in America, but at least we beat Russia one night. We can be heroes just for one day. That's my favorite song goes, right? And it was Fred and Michael Ruzioni, and they all became famous, and the hockey players in America, they were on boxes of Wheaties and stuff. But then Russia and the Iron Curtain did fall, and things changed for 20 years until Putin came in. But it's now like, it'd be nice if we beat Russia. Do you want to beat Russia? Do you want to beat China? Okay, I'd rather beat them in trade than at the Olympics, quite honestly. Do we care about beating, right? maybe Syria, if they're competing, or some scary Arab countries, or we certainly want to beat North Korea. I don't think they bring anybody to the Olympics, but there isn't that sense of teams anymore, and countries, and banners and flags. I mean, obviously, you're going to root for your home team. My wife and I were serving the channels late at night a couple of nights ago, and there was curling on cable. I mean, curling, yay, curling. And so it was the United States versus Sweden. And okay, so we rooted for the American team, and they were just killing Sweden. Sweden was totally off their game. They just have to practice more sweeping, I guess. So, it was nice to root for America, but it didn't feel like, A, it wasn't the Olympics. It was preliminary trials and stuff. And B, we beat Sweden, we don't beat Sweden. No. And you kind of feel that way now about the Olympics themselves. It's all about more the particular athletes. And I think it's the culture of the Olympics and media coverage of it that has had a hand in it as well, of turning every single athlete into a story rather than a person. Nadia Chapoknalev lost her mother 6 months ago, and she has powered through her grief to now be doing the shot put. And everything, single things, have got to root for this one for this reason, and it becomes less countrified or country-oriented, which is kind of a good thing too. But it does take away this urgency of whom you are rooting for when we do get those Summer Olympics. But anywho, whole point is Russia won't be there this summer. And a nice thing, and I will credit Vladimir Putin for allowing athletes from Russia to go compete in the Olympics, even without the Russian flag. So he's allowing them to say, hey, I'm competing, I happen to be Russia, I'll be under the Olympic flag instead of the post-Soviet Union Russian flag at the Olympics. But that is why we played Russia by Peter Cook and Dudley Moore as Derek and Clive in our Saturday segue. We followed that with a track from Forbidden Broadway. That's the show our friend Gerard Alessandrini created all those years ago. This was from the third edition of Forbidden Broadway back in 1994. And they were making fun of that season when Dustin Hoffman was appearing on Broadway in The Merchant of Venice, playing Shylock, a performance that I saw and kind of liked, but don't remember that much. I just remember he kind of returned spit at one point. They spit on his Jewish gabardine, Shylock's Jewish clothing in the play, and Hoffman found a moment to spit back. And I remember I started applauding wildly in my chair because Shylock is so badly treated by all the Gentiles in The Merchant of Venice. So anyway, we played that track, which was a conflation of Mrs. Robinson and The Sound of Silence, a parody of both of those songs, about Dustin Hoffman for all the wrongest and worstest reasons, because Dustin Hoffman was accused this past week of harassing an actress he claims he did not even know, but there have been other accusations now against Dustin Hoffman, including a girl who was 17 years old and on the set when he was doing the TV movie version of Death of a Salesman. I remember seeing him in that on Broadway and thinking that was pretty good. And then yesterday, yet another actress, a woman named Catherine Rossiter, claimed that he was tormenting her when they appeared together on Broadway in Death of a Salesman. So there was a 17-year-old girl who was complaining about him when they did the TV Death of a Salesman, but actually on Broadway, this other actress who was in the show said first he helped her get the role, which was great, and she was really grateful and in awe of this famous and brilliant Hollywood actor and stage actor as well, because Hoffman pretty much started on stage off Broadway. And then the problem was, she said that more and more he would pull up her clothing, and at one point he digitally assaulted her. He put his fingers inside her. And at the time, she says that she complained to crew members who warned her that her career would suffer if she complained about Dustin Hoffman doing these things. So again, she said, Hoffman, I'm sure, denying. We'll see how plausible his deniability is, especially since, this has to be said, the stage manager for that Death of a Salesman that was on Broadway all those years ago, Tom Kelly, said, he was interviewed, and he said that this was the first he had heard of it, and that he himself is insulted by the allegations, since if this was happening, it would have had to have gone on under his nose, because he would have had to report to Equity and the people and the producers too, I'm sure, if not the police. So I don't know. It's kind of like there's no reason not to believe Catherine Rossiter, but it goes to the culture of the times of if he was doing these things to her and they were more than playful, at some point she can't just complain to the actress in the next dressing room or a crew member. She should have gone higher up the chain, and her career be damned. It's not like she got famous anyway, with all due respect to her. But yet another poison fruit on the Hollywood tree, falling one after another after another. This is certainly going to damage Hoffman's reputation. And again, it's not just Rossiter, it's these other actresses and other incidents that are coming forward after all these years. And we know that he was an eccentric, crazy, get into the role kind of actor for the first few years of his career. That was what they were doing, Brandoizing roles, instead of just going up there, hitting your mark and doing your lines the way Michael Caine has advised actors should do. The fun continues. Anyway, we move from Hoffman to Christine Keeler. Very, very kind of rare song there from Phil Oakes, from early stuff of his, the Broadside collection that he did before he even got, I'm sure, his Elektra Records contract. Christine Keeler, who was that? She was the party girl, as it were, who brought down a government for a while in England. Well, she passed away on Tuesday at the age of 75 after suffering for a while with heart disease. Now, she was just a showgirl, kind of a pretty party girl. She met this osteopath at a dance club in England. Okay, fine, but he kind of introduced her and became part of the scene where she ran into John Profumo, a government minister. And she dallied with him and had a fairly open affair with him that he denied until he couldn't deny it anymore. And then that tainted his administration with scandal and eventually brought down the Harold Macmillan government. He was the prime minister at the time. Not only that, this woman was apparently so hot and desirable. Two men had a knife fight over her. And then one of the men went to Stephen Ward's house, who was, I think, her husband. No, that was the osteopath. That was the doctor, Stephen Ward, and fired a gun at his government building. So it was just a whole big mess. And the story has gotten legs many, many years after it all happened. There was the movie Scandal, and even Andrew Lloyd Webber did a whole musical about it. It hasn't come to Broadway, but it got some good reviews in England. It was called Stephen Ward. But Keeler, just such an unhappy overall story. I mean, going through what she went through, she had to lie about certain things, and then she spent about 9 months in jail. Not I don't think it was for prostitution, it was just for lying. But, the price, we talk about a different day and time, the price women had to pay for just wanting to have fun and have sex with a couple of different guys. What it cost her for a few years and then into her whole life. Pretty sad stuff. So we hope that she is resting in peace. Christine Keeler passed away, and we played the Phil Oakes song, Christine Keeler, on Dave's Gone By. And we followed that with another passing. We say farewell to Johnny Hallyday. Who? Well, if you're French, or even European, you know who that is. He was one of the big French rock stars of all time. We heard him doing sort of his Francophone adaptation, I guess we can say, of the Jimi Hendrix version of Hey Joe. This came out in 1966, so it was really almost contemporary with Hendrix. Halliday was called the French Elvis. He was born Jean-Philippe Smet in Paris, and he passed away or he died of cancer this past week at the age of 74. Johnny Halliday sold 110 million records. His tagline is that he was the greatest international rock star that the Western world has never heard of. Which is ridiculous because actually Paris and Europe are the Western world. But he did covers of Elvis, Eddie Cochran, and the Jimi Hendrix thing went both ways because he gave the Jimi Hendrix Experience their first gig as openers to him in 1966. Well, Johnny Hallyday recorded over 1,000 songs. 100 of them were his. I want to investigate his oeuvre a bit more. I mean, I don't think he's the equivalent here of a Dylan or a Jagger or a Neil Young or anything like that. But it may be worth investigating what made this man sell 110 million records in Paris and Europe. And so here's to listening to some more, not on this show, but this week I think I'll check out some more Johnny Hallyday. And big farewell to the French Elvis who passed away this week. And then we closed, of course, our Saturday segue with that song from Lucinda Williams, Ventura. Well, we are going to be venturing away from the mic in just a couple of minutes, finishing off this episode of the Dave's Gone By radio program of the air. I want to let you know about the weather out there. If you've been over to the graduation, which I imagine is indoors, but they could have held it outdoors right about now because it's 55 degrees, going up to a high of 58. Sunshine, really crisp, lovely late fall, almost winter kind of a day, but warmer than you would expect. And tomorrow, same thing, high of 56 degrees, more sunshine, only a little bit cooler on Monday, high of 54 degrees. So 3 days in a row in the mid-50s, really nice, getting down to the low 20s in the overnights. Perfectly seasonable. And Tuesday, we almost make 60 again. Wednesday, okay, we come close to 60, becomes a little bit cloudier. Thursday, low 50s. Friday, mid to high 50s, cloudy. And then a week from today, even still, some sun, some clouds, and a high of 50 degrees. So it'll be a bit cooler, but I'm not seeing any particular big storms or squalls or rain or snow in the forecast. So for this time of the year, for this kind of season, fabulous weather in beautiful Greeley, Colorado. So what a great time to start winter break for, well, students have finished their finals, professors are putting their grades in. What a great time to be here in Greeley and to be on Facebook and to be on the radio. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way, finishing up the 631st episode of the Dave's Gone By radio show. We called it More and More, M-O-R-E and M-O-R, in honor of our new friend, our guest in the neighborhood, Brooke Moriber. She's got that new EP out called Was It Here and Gone, and also Fire is her other EP. Check them out, and she's also got some videos in YouTube, and she's kind of cute, so you're going to want to see the visuals as well as hear the audio too. We thank Rabbi Sal Solomon for doing the interview with Brooke Moriber. You can find out more about him by going to his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. That is a place to have links to his older interviews, to his rabbinical reflections, to his TV show, even to his stage show. All of those links are at shalomdammit.com. Oh, and big thank you also to Rick Eberly for helping set up that interview with Brooke Moriber. And we thank him, and we also thank Joyce, my beloved and adorable wife, Joyce, for being with us in the neighborhood and spending the first hour with us on the program. Love you, hon, and thank you. Thank you for my freezy nummy drink, and thank you for my nice hot coffee drink, and thank you for my tea drink, and thank you for pretty much everything else that is wonderful in my life. Well, we expect to be here next Saturday in the neighborhood, same time, same station, same Facebook. It's davesgoneby.com for more information about the show. davesgoneby@aol.com if you want to drop me an email, or the best way really is to go on Facebook, like us, follow us, and drop me messages there. I'd love to hear from you. Don't know who or what will be on the program next week. It's an illusion. It's a surprise, but you're going to have to tune in and find out. So I'm going to boogie on out of here, and I'm going to make, as Brooke Moriber sings in this last song, The Last Goodbye and Gone By.
Crushed me out like a cigarette. I cried till I was out of breath. I hated that you let me beg. Why'd you let me beg? Towels cold on the bathroom floor. Never shook that hard before. You put me through all of that. Then you turn around and want me back. You can keep crying. I won't be back. I won't be back for more. I know your twists and turns. I know the way that it burns. So don't even try. With another life, this is the last goodbye. Once I loved you, twice I saved you. 1,000 times I forgave you. I hate to be the one who's cruel. I always left that up to you. I turn around and play the fool again. You can keep crying. I won't be back. I won't be back for long. I know your twists and turns. I know the way that it burns. So don't even try. With another life, this is the last goodbye. Lesson learned, scars I earned.
Well, thanks everybody for watching on Facebook again. I apologize for not being able to see who you are. Facebook is blocking or just having some issues in terms of letting me know who's been logged on or if anybody's been sending messages. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember that you can listen to the archives as audio, and the music sounds a whole lot better when you just listen to it as a radio program at davesgoneby.com. The archives should be up by late tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And plus, hopefully this video will save. Not that there's all that much to watch here, but watch me. And that'll be saved, and you can watch that almost immediately if this works. So, again, thank you. Huge thanks for tuning in to the Dave's Gone By show. Hope to see you next Saturday at 9 Mountain, 11 Eastern. Well, and happy Chanukah, everybody. Happy Chanukah to you and to yours and to mine and to theirs. See you soon.
I know you're